I have cheated on guys with him because, like I said, I love him. But when I got pregnant with him, I was with someone and I broke up with him. And I told the other guy why I was breaking up with him, because I didn't want to hurt his feelings.
Finally, I get a hold of her, and there's a guy in the background, and she's claiming it's her brother.
So while you're taking that break or you're broken up, you admittedly slept with someone else.
Yes, I did.
Without protection.
Yes.
I know that was wrong with me. We partied together and I messed up his sobriety, and that was wrong with me.
So please do
And I
not
said,
paint
you
my
know what?
husband to be a monster.
I'm not making your husband to be a monster, baby.
If they are cheating, you can always count on paternity court to get them exposed. Ms. Robinson was wrapped up in the tales of her mother from her wild life back when her mom was younger. Ms. Robinson was suing her mother for paternity fraud and was determined to prove that the man on her birth certificate was not her father. Could her mom be innocent?
Ms. Robinson, you are suing your mother for paternity fraud and are here to prove that Mr. Moore is your biological father, even though your mother put another man's name on your birth certificate. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Harris, you're certain Mr. Moore is not your daughter's father and claim her case of paternity fraud is outrageous.
Yes.
You could tell Ms. Robinson wasn't going to go easy on her mom. The first words are out of her mouth, and she's already pointing fingers at her mom. She claimed that when she was younger and wanted to find the real identity of her dad, her mother never wanted her to know the truth, but Ms. Harms wasn't ready to play nice either.
Tried to ask her about my father. I guess it was a part of her past she didn't just want to bring up, so it always got pushed to the back burner. Or I was told, get the hell out of her face, leave her alone, don't ask any questions about it, you know who your dad is.
She's lying. I've always told her who her dad was. And to my knowledge,
who was supposed to be my dad?
It's not Mr. Moore.
Like I said, her mother wasn't ready to play nice one bit. She was furious that her daughter wasn't ready to believe that she knew who her real father was. She knew for a fact that the man Ms. Robinson was claiming to be her father stood no chance of being her father because she remembered moving on from their relationship before she had her baby.
He is not your father.
When you say you had already moved on, explain that. You're saying you moved on from
Mr. Moore. I never thought he was a father because I had already moved on, Your Honor.
So you're saying you got pregnant after you already moved on away from him, so there's no way he could be your biological father, so you didn't even feel like there was any reason to entertain that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Regardless of how certain Ms. Harms was about the identity of Ms. Robinson's father, her daughter was just not ready to believe her. Her mind was hell-bent on what she believed because while she grew up, a lot of people told her stories about how there was a possibility she could have two possible fathers.
You first hear about Mr. Moore being a possible biological father?
The first time I heard about it was kind of weird because I was young and I was just told that he's not your father.
Your Honor, excuse me, Your Honor, she thought that? Why would it take her 36 years?
Because no one lets me talk.
Wait, I wanted to finish the story because
nobody lets me talk. I mean, never. What kid doesn't want to know their father?
With that revelation, Ms. Harms sure has a lot of explaining to do. You could see it in Ms. Robinson's eyes that the messy situation hurt her so badly. I mean, who wouldn't want to know who their birth father is? But the big question still remains. Why did her mother keep it a secret?
I could not imagine my life without him in it.
That's all I want.
And when you say I never had that, I feel for you because I know what you're missing. I really do. And I see the tears in your eyes, even at 36.
Other people take it for, I'm glad that you can say you had your father, but you have empathy to know how I could feel about it.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people have their fathers and they'll look at me like, I don't even like my daddy. Girl, you better without him. No, I could be better with him.
Even with all that pressure from the judge and her daughter, Ms. Harms still insisted her daughter had no clue as to what she believed was true. Being very furious, Ms. Robinson decides to introduce some evidence to back up her claim. Oh, trust me, she came fully prepared to win this battle against her mom.
The father's spot, it has a signature. Now, when I looked at that, I seen that the signature looked new. It didn't look as old as my mom's signature on there. But I'm a kid, so I went along with it. Last year, I needed to get a new ID. So I go to get a new ID, and they told me that my original birth certificate there was not good enough. I needed to get the new one. When I got the new birth certificate, it did not have a father's name.
Boy, was that some evidence? Ms. Robinson sure wasn't ready to play any games. Talk about a brawl between mother and daughter. That piece of evidence brought in some heavy amount of confusion between the both of them. But was that the only evidence Ms. Robinson had up her sleeve? Well,
why I think we look alike.
So this is a picture of
me and Mr. Moore.
You on the left and Mr. Moore on the right.
And I also have another picture of our noses, Your Honor, when I was younger.
Oh, Lord.
This is side by side.
Every time I look in the mirror, ever since I looked at his pictures, I feel like Mr. Mr. Moore with a wig on.
That definitely answers that question. Nothing in this world could come in the way of Ms. Robinson's determination to know who her biological father is. The judge finally asked the man Ms. Robinson believes to be her father to come into the courtroom. Here's how that situation played out.
And she's indicated through her testimony that you believe you are her biological father. Do you?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
You do.
Yes.
Tell the court why.
Well, Your Honor, she used to babysit her sister's kids, and I used to go there a lot, and we were having sex a lot. It wasn't no little bit. It's true. And so a few months later, I know a little pouch on her belly.
That definitely complicates the entire situation. Mr. Moore had quite a lot to say about Ms. Harms. She had been keeping a lot of secrets from her daughter, and Mr. Moore was here with the shotgun to let it all out. Now, hold your breaths, people, because more truth bombs are coming your way.
Because I didn't have anything to do with her no more.
And when I seen him when I was 12, that's exactly what I told him.
Yeah,
Do you remember that day?
I remember.
He pulled up on me. I was walking to the store. He said, "Hey, girl, I'm your daddy."
You said, I'm your daddy?
Yeah.
I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Vernon." I'm like, "Oh, that's Vernon. You ain't my daddy. My mama told me to tell you to leave me alone." He said, "Girl, I'm your daddy. Your mama crazy."
Why don't we wrap up all this craziness between mother and daughter? Ms. Harms can lie all she wants, but the DNA results will always reveal the truth. Speaking of DNA results, here it comes.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
Oh my God. Dude, who is my daddy? I cannot.
So let's go get the other one and come right back here and do this again.
My courtroom is always open for you, Miss
tell
Robinson.
you,
If there is someone else you'd like
serious,
to test.
Vernon?
When you talk about a messy situation, this definitely fits the description. For this couple, this wasn't their first rodeo within the walls of the paternity courtroom. Mr. McCrory had reason to doubt the paternity of one of his kids. To make things even worse, their marriage was on the verge of being over. Did his wife betray him again?
Mr. McCrory, after you and your wife received shocking results in this courtroom surrounding your daughter's paternity, you returned home and realized you have good reason to doubt your son Keith's paternity. And now your marriage is on the rocks.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. McCrory, you claim your daughter's results surprised you, but you're confident your husband fathered your 3-year-old son, and you hope to prove it today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, that was surprising. Looks like Mr. McCrory's wife might have stabbed him in the back once again. With all that cheating, they definitely need couples therapy. At least she admitted to cheating on her husband, so that's a good start. But what else lies in her world of secrets?
Bed wasn't even like cold. Like it was, we just broke up. Like, I mean, if me and her, you know, if something happens to her and she dies today, I'm not gonna have a new woman in the bed 3 days later because, you know, the death do us part. I couldn't get a hold of her. I called her and for 2 days she ignored me. Finally, I get a hold of her and there's a guy in the background and she's claiming it's her brother.
I'm not even going to hold my tongue on this, but Mrs. McCrory is one crazy lady. First, she admits to cheating. Now, she lies to her husband, saying the man she cheated on him with is her brother. Wow, to that! Even after having unprotected sex, she still believes Mr. McCrory is the father of their child.
Because I just 1,000%
She's a
know
liar.
that's his child right there. That's his kid. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. It's his child. You can tell. Look at.
And so you just felt like you didn't have to tell the whole truth because you were so certain Keith Jr.
Yes.
was.
And it's just, I feel that it's not, everyone's making it seem like it's cheating. I wasn't with him, it's not cheating.
No,
only
we're past the
a few
cheating
days.
part. We're on the paternity part.
She messed up the first time. What's to say she can't make the same mistake again? Even the judge finds it difficult to believe her certainty about the baby's paternity, but you can trust Judge Lauren to get to the bottom of any situation. She presses further and asks Mr. McCrory how he found out she slept with someone else.
And see, the thing is the potential father, she would promise him, say she'd send him pictures and stuff like that, but she said she promised me she wasn't sending him pictures.
What kind of pictures are these?
Your Honor, I have pictures that she puts on Facebook all the time that, you know, some of them are old, but some of them were recent. I mean,
Let me see those, Ron, even though I'm not sure.
If I caught my wife posting those kinds of pictures, I would definitely want to end my marriage. Believe me, the plot of their story thickens as Mr. McCrory tells the judge that the man she slept with was their mutual friend. At this point, does Mr. McCrory even want to stay in the marriage?
this was supposed to be my friend and her friend. He comes over our house, he chills out, he would come to the house and drink with us and crash on the couch for the night.
And this is the person she slept with?
Yes, Your Honor. If she's lying to me and it's not my son, I'm not going to stay with her. I'm going to leave her. I mean, I'm not going to be with somebody who lied to me about my son.
So the stakes are that high?
Yes.
For him to be in the courtroom, let's just say he still cares enough to want to be in the marriage. When Mr. McCrory initially found out she was pregnant, he was very excited to be the father of the baby. Who wouldn't be? But the doubts just wouldn't allow him to accept the child with his heart and soul.
My name's on the birth certificate. I have that with me here today.
You brought the birth certificate?
I got a copy of it.
Let me see that. Ron, can you hand it to me?
I mean, and I was excited when Keith was born. I've always wanted a son that I can give my last name to, that can share that bond of a junior, and that can pass that on to his son.
The truth is, because she did have unprotected sex with somebody else, it's possible that this little boy is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was quite dramatic. Who knew Mrs. McCrory was such an emotional woman? Her tears weren't going to stop the case from moving forward. Mrs. McCrory just wasn't ready to believe that there could be another possible father to her child. Even though she cheated, she was beyond certain the child belonged to her husband.
I would think that way. I mean, like I said, like in the beginning it was positive, this one, but there's other options. And then towards the, at the time of court and after court, it was bouncing back and forth. You know, let's write this person, let's write that person. And then talking to, you know, the possible of Nevaeh, you know, the possible father, writing back and forth about your kid looks like my kid.
Of course I'm going to do that when I'm trying to find out who her dad is.
Her beliefs and certainty meant nothing to Mr. McCrory. He was filled with so much doubt about who the father of the child was. His doubts got so bad that he asked Mrs. McCrory to take a lie detector test. The results from that will leave you speechless. Take a look.
One man you admitted to your husband. You admitted that you did.
Yeah, I did.
Who is that person?
To someone else. It was mistakes when I got together, so he shouldn't be over there shaking his head because he's no better.
All right. Ms. McCrory, you were then asked if you sent racy pictures to anyone other than your husband in the last 4 years. You admitted that you did.
Wow, an absolute wow. Mrs. McCrory has been lying to her husband about almost everything. Has anything she said in that courtroom been true? At this point, it's quite hard to believe her. The judge then goes on to ask her if she's ready to come clean and tell her husband the truth. Is she going to come clean?
Is there anything you'd like to add? Do you have anything you want to share? Do you want to share with your husband? Maybe something you haven't told him to let him know that you're trying to be truthful.
I am truthful. I've been truthful. Well, I mean, other than that lie, I'm not gonna. I mean, it's not it's not really a lie because it's like we weren't together. I mean, we got back together. Why should I have to tell him?
She still believes she's telling the truth. Hilarious. Well, let's take Mr. McCrory out of the seat of his wife's lies and betrayal. What DNA results are in stock for him? Is his marriage going to be saved?
Mr. McCrory, you are the father.
Yeah, I told you so.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm happy for you. You have a beautiful little boy, you have Nevaeh, and you're married. For better or for worse, this may be your worst.
Are your minds ready to be blown? Well, I hope so because this case will definitely blow your mind. Ms. Anthony claimed her love affair with the defendant was short-term and a baby was the end product of their time together. She is furious that the defendant is denying a baby they were happy to bring into the world. What could be his reason for denying the baby?
Ms. Anthony, you claim you had a short-term relationship with the defendant, Mr. Pouchot, who was initially excited when you told him you were pregnant. But now you are furious he is denying your 8-month-old son, Matthew. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pouchot, you say you've never taken Ms. Anthony seriously, and she herself confessed to sleeping with other men during the time of conception.
Were they in love? Were they not in love? It was very hard to tell which from which. Initially, Ms. Anthony told Mr. Porcio that he wasn't the father of her child. In her defense, she claimed he was in a very bad place in his life, and she didn't want to complicate it further.
And that the child was not his, but Your Honor, he was not in a very good place in his life. He was partying, and I was partying too, but once I found out I was pregnant, I put all those things aside and did what I had to.
And so wait, did you tell him he was the father at first, or that he wasn't?
Yes, he was there when I took the pregnancy test.
But
Your
she
Honor.
told me that I wasn't the father.
She definitely did a horrible job trying not to complicate his life any further, that's for sure. Ms. Anthony believed she was in a romantic relationship with Mr. Porcio, but Mr. Porcio stopped her right before she could finish and said their relationship was just about parties.
We had mainly a party relationship, to be honest with you. Like, that's what
true.
our relationship consisted of. No, we didn't argue and all that, but neither one of us were ready to be in a relationship nor have a child.
But it was a sexual relationship.
Yes, it was.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor, we were not.
As to the type of relationship they had, let's just leave the answer as very complicated. They then get to the debate of what happened when Ms. Anthony found out she was pregnant. Here's how that little episode played out.
You take a test and he's with you.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you took the test and it came back positive, you immediately told him you're not the father?
Oh, no, not immediately.
All right, tell me what happened then.
We went to bed that night, and I laid there all night and was like, I can't do this. My son deserves better, or my child, at the point I didn't know it was a boy, but my child deserves better than this. I don't know what to do.
After she took the test, she looked me dead in my face and was like, it's not yours.
Be that as it may, Ms. Anthony now regrets her decision to lie to Mr. Porcio about being the father of her baby. At the time, she felt he was a party freak and wasn't going to do anything for both her and her child. Let's now get down to business. Did she have a sexual relationship with someone else?
And all this is after she told me that she was pregnant with another man's child, and I wasn't the father. I was trying to stay around.
No, those were before, honey. Don't you sit there and lie. That April 8th and the April 4th were before. That middle one was after.
Because I met you in late March. No, actually late February, and you supposedly got pregnant early March.
No, I did not supposedly get pregnant early March. My due date was...
Well, that was definitely unexpected. Now, Mr. Porcio had a witness, and this witness was none other than his husband. Oh, trust me, you had that right. Mr. Porcio got bored of hanging out with women, and he decided to switch sides. Moving on, here's what Mr. Porcio's husband had to say about the whole situation.
Honestly, Your Honor, I wasn't there, obviously, when they did what they did, but I was told from Miss Anthony herself, my husband had gone away for a couple months, and I was holding down things at home. I was holding him down where he was, and I needed a little bit of help because I ran short. I called Miss Anthony. She met me down, in fact, at the very same place that they met, at the bus terminal.
That revelation definitely took me by surprise. Apparently, Mr. Porcio wasn't the only one she told that the baby did not belong to him. She also told his husband. She wasn't denying that it was a mistake on her path, but she claimed she did it for the safety of her child. If that's the case, why is her story changing all of a sudden?
That is true. I did say that. You have to understand where I was coming from as a mother. You have to, and it was wrong of me. The decision I made was not right in any way, shape, or form. I understand that. But at that point in time, I thought that I was doing what was best for my child. I thought that I was making the best decision because he wasn't ready to be a parent.
Actually, my husband can attest to this, that all I want to be is a parent.
Another truth bomb strikes the floors of the courtroom. Just like we thought, there was another man in the mix of her story. Mr. Porcio's name wasn't signed on the birth certificate because the other man she was intimate with was present with her when she gave birth to her child.
That time, I'm so confused. You told him he wasn't. At the time the child was born, were you telling him he was the father?
I told him he wasn't at that time.
So he wasn't present for the birth?
No, he was not, and I feel wrong. I stripped him of that, and that was wrong.
The man that was present for the birth signed the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
And he's who I was told was the father.
And
so there was another man at the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
So much for trying to keep the relationship private. There's only one thing left, and I'm sure you know what that is. If Ms. Anthony is telling the truth, I'm sure the DNA results will back her up real good. Let's finally get the answers we've been waiting for, shall we?
Mr. Porcio, you are the father. That's the first time I've seen you smile today, Mr. Porcio.
on his end and on my end, basically makes the child my stepchild.
It does.
It does?
I work.
At least she didn't deny the fact that she was intimate with more than one man. Ms. Bryson was in court to prove to the defendant Mr. McCarroll was the father of her child. Due to her admission of sleeping with another man, Mr. McCarroll wasn't ready to accept her child. Could there be more to their story?
Ms. Bryson, you have dragged the defendant, your ex-boyfriend, Mr. McCarroll, into court today because although you admit to having sex with more than one man, you are here with proof that Mr. McCarroll is the father of your 18-month-old son, Zylan McCarroll. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
There is definitely more to their story. Ms. Bryson wasted no time telling the courtroom that Mr. McCarroll was a cheat. She claimed she wanted nothing more than to get married to Mr. McCarroll, but for some reason, he just wasn't ready to tie the nut with Ms. Bryson.
Are you just trying to say he cheats on you a lot?
Yes, every time we're together, he cheats. I wanted us to get married, okay? And he doesn't want to do that.
Yes, I tried
because
to
he wants to be a whore.
I tried to structure structure everything about my life to make it where we would never have to be here in this situation, where she would never have to worry about who her baby daddy was or none of that crazy stuff.
I was definitely expecting them to get into an argument, and they didn't let me down. Mr. McCarroll accused Ms. Bryson of putting him in an uncomfortable situation where she had no idea who the father of her child was. Does she not really know who the baby daddy is?
Oh, you're a savior now.
I'm not a savior.
He think
no,
he is.
I'm not a savior, but I could have avoided this situation.
How could you have avoided that?
I could have avoided this by working and going to school and trying to make a better way for her.
And every time he worked.
And hold on, why is it you weren't able to do that?
Oh my God, I can't talk to my mother on the phone. I can't read a book without getting put out, cursed out.
Wow, I do not want to find myself married to any of these two. Their marriage was nothing short of a train wreck. I see them, and I find myself asking, did they ever love each other? Anyway, Ms. Bryson wasn't ready to pull the brakes on her accusations. She still insisted Mr. McCarroll was a cheat, even though he kept saying he wasn't.
Downstairs too long, I'm too quiet. I'm reading a book. What you want me to do, man?
The reason I came downstairs, I heard him on the phone with a girl that he had currently slept with. And we got into it about that situation.
Man,
and
how do you know that was a girl
anytime I
currently slept with?
I talked to her. He was telling her she upstairs sleep with the baby. When I get a chance to get out, I'm gonna come over and we gone.
After that revelation, let's just say Mr. McCarroll and Ms. Bryson were both guilty of cheating. Ms. Bryson was trying to sell a different story to the judge, and she claimed that even though she was in a relationship with someone else, she couldn't say no to Mr. McCarroll anytime he wanted to sleep with her.
Thank you.
No,
Takes two.
No. Your Honor,
Yeah.
I braided his hair. He came over. I asked the guy that I was in a relationship with, could I do his hair? He said yes. He came over and was flirting on me, touching on me. Every time we speak on the phone, I try to call and let him talk to the kids. Every time that we speak on the phone,
time, really? Every
he
time?
always flirts.
The case hasn't even gone halfway, and the word cheating has already been mentioned 100 times. You don't need me to say it. They definitely aren't a good fit for each other. But Ms. Bryson was hurt by the whole situation. She blamed Mr. McCarroll for making her cheat with so many guys. Was it really his fault, though?
I wanted to have a family with him. I wanted to get married to him. Like I said, I've been with him since I was 18. I love him. Any man I ever talked to know that I love him, okay? I wanted to have a son. I wanted to get married. He didn't want to give it to me. He didn't want to settle down, okay?
Yes,
and I got it. And obviously ain't no man gonna be included in it because I haven't tried to even get into a relationship because I know I'm still hung over him.
I don't know about you, but Ms. Bryson might be right to blame Mr. McCarroll for her misdeeds. Even though she had been with other guys, she knew for a fact that Mr. McCarroll was the father of her baby. As to what evidence she had, here's how that played out in the courtroom.
You're handing up a calendar.
Yes, ma'am. That's a conception calendar.
Okay.
Based on that calendar, I conceived my son on April the 28th.
In blue is the date you were intimate with Mr. McCarroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Actual
And
date,
now
I want to
in
know how
pink,
you know that.
you have outlined the window of conception that you calculated.
Yes, ma'am.
4 different pregnancy tests coming out as positive. Oh, she was pregnant, all right. As much as she believed Mr. McCarroll was her child's father, Mr. McCarroll claimed he had no memory of being intimate during the period Ms. Bryson claimed to have conceived the baby.
Mr. McCarroll,
Yes, ma'am.
do you remember having sex with Miss Bryson on the 28th?
No, ma'am. We were having sex around that time, but on the 28th specifically, I can't say that. She might have been with that guy then. I have no idea.
The truth is, you all were separated at that time. You had another
Yes, Your Honor.
girlfriend you were dealing with?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
There's about to be a game changer in the courtroom. Judge Lauren asks the other potential baby daddy to come into the courtroom and give his 2 cents about what really went down while he was intimate with Ms. Bryson.
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Why?
Because at the same time she was with me, she was messing around with him. And I lost my train of thought just thinking about the stuff.
It makes you upset.
Yeah, because I found out that she was messing around on me. She told me she was 99% sure that he was the father.
Boy, did he have a lot to say. Ms. Bryson was cheating on him too? I am speechless. It's the last lap, and the DNA results for both men are sitting pretty with the judge. Who's the father going to be? My bet is on Mr. McCarroll. Am I going to be wrong?
Mr. Perkins, you are not the father. Mr. McCarroll, you are not the father.
Man, case closed. I ain't got no more to say. Say no more.
They both weren't the father? Wow. It's a disappointing day for Ms. Bryson, and you can see it written all over her face.
Calendar was wrong. And my ultrasounds, I showed both of them my ultrasound. Everything said I got pregnant in April. That's what I was worried about. So I obviously got pregnant in May.
Is Zylan McCarroll's father? Do you know?
Yes, ma'am. I obviously got pregnant in May. I thought I got pregnant in April. I was real early, so I know who it is.
Bishop House Is that proper language to use for a young woman?
Well, you know, in Hosea chapter 4, God called Gomer a whore.
No. Well, we're not in Hosea chapter 4. We in paternity court, and I'm the judge, and in this courtroom, we're going to respect women.
Honest mistake, Your Honor.
Wait, now there wasn't no mistaken identity. You knew it was your wife's sister.
I'm a dog. What are you? Your wife know you here right now?
Okay.
Your wife even know you down here right now.
Okay, we had the same past.
And I went up and I just prayed that God give me a sign to reveal.
Ms. Nesbitt appears in court to prove to her boyfriend, Mr. Henderson, that he is indeed the father of her child. She admits having a stand with the neighbor, but is very certain the baby belongs to her boyfriend. As you would expect, Mr. Henderson disagrees with her story. Well, here's how it starts.
So far for Zion.
Well, he buy her diapers, that's about it. He doesn't do anything for my child.
Really? Well, Mr. Henderson, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, because I feel that I shouldn't have to take care of another man's baby.
But you are taking care of another man's baby, right?
Oh, wow. Apparently, he hasn't done much for the child since she came into the world. Mr. Handeros tells the judge that he sees no reason why he should take care of another man's child. But then again, why does he think he is not the father of the baby?
Yes, I did because
He did what, Miss Nesbitt?
I went downstairs to go get my birth certificate and his name was on there. I told him not to put his name.
Oh, so wait, you had asked him previously not to sign it because you had doubts yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hearing that just sends my brain into a complete shutdown. She claims to have had doubts about the baby, and due to that fact, he didn't want Mr. Henderson to sign the birth certificate. Wow. These types of women always make me wonder if good women still exist.
You remember that conversation?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you signed it anyway?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he even lied to his father and told him that he got a DNA at the hospital when he didn't.
Why would you tell your dad you had a DNA test and you didn't?
Well, honestly, Your Honor, because I didn't want him all in my business.
Ha 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 ha. I bet he was not expecting the judge to come at him like that. But I mean, what exactly was he thinking when he went on to sign the birth certificate, knowing fully well that he might not be the father of the child? That's just dumb for real.
I really have doubts.
Because she kept coming to me like, this not your baby, LaDon. Like one time
After Zion was born?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I came in the house one night drunk. I don't know if she was mad at me or not. She probably could have said it out of spite.
I don't even know what to say. They both had doubts about the baby and still went on with everything. You can honestly tell that these two need to see a therapist once they're out of the courtroom. Even a 10-year-old knows better.
He had sex with his cousin, and I felt very vulnerable about it, and you know.
Yes, I did, but that was before her. She already knew about that.
Okay.
Yes, let me tell you how.
Proceed.
You know, I received the inbox telling me she said that she had sex with my little black car and they had a baby.
When y'all left from the Riverwalk.
No, that's not true, and you got her
Yes,
pregnant.
it is. It's true, Your Honor.
Seems like there's been a lot of sex going on with both parties. What's even mind-blowing is the fact that she said Mr. Henderson had sex with his cousin and she got pregnant. How in the world does that even happen? Yo, there are lines you just don't cross.
So me and Mr. Henderson, we got into an argument.
One night?
Yes, one night, and 2 weeks later I ended up pregnant, and I told Mr. Henderson.
Do you remember this day, Mr. Henderson, when
Yes,
she told
Your
you she
Honor.
was pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor. She told me she used the condom, Your Honor. And then not too long ago, she told me the condom broke, Your Honor.
And that's exactly why he is in paternity court. Your girlfriend tells you she had a one-night stand with the neighbor, and he goes on to assume that the baby can't belong to the neighbor? If I were his dad, I would give him the beating of his life. Come on.
I used to always flirt with her, to blink an eye at her, you know what I'm saying? Because she was a cute girl, you know? She was
He was a nice friend, that's about it.
Yeah, that's basically about it, you know?
But you did have a sexual encounter with her.
Yeah, one time.
It was just like birthday sex, that was about it.
It's been going on longer than that. It was more than one.
It was just birthday.
There is no way these two had sex only once. From the moment he walked it, it felt like she had seen the love of her life. But if they say they had sex just once, then I guess they had sex just once. I wonder what other funny confession is going to pop out of his mouth.
She had texted me and told me, I got something to tell you. I'm like, tell me. She's like, I'm embarrassed. So I'm like, don't be embarrassed, tell me. She was like, I'm pregnant. It could be you or Don, baby.
So at this point, you've been honest with both men.
Yes.
And they both know they are potential fathers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Baby Zion is born, and who steps up to the plate for her?
Ha ha ha. I love how he said evidence. We both know Mr. Brown right here wants nothing to do with the child. All he wanted was a good time with Ms. Nesbitt. Anything outside of that is none of his business. Well, let's see what evidence he has to offer.
You submit to the court that she doesn't look anything like you, in your opinion.
One day she had told me she didn't want to take the first. She was always asking, like, do you mind taking the test? I'm like, yeah. Then one day I guess she didn't want to hurt
Your
his
Honor,
feelings
he's
or
the
something.
one that called me.
So wait, initially she asked you to take a test. Do you mind taking
Yeah,
a
and I used to
paternity
always
test?
tell her what I tell her.
He's got 4 kids already? Man, I thought people usually get tired after the third one. Definitely not Mr. Brown. Seems like Mrs. Nesbitt didn't want to break Mr. Brown's heart, and that's why she refused to take the DNA test when Mr. Brown wanted to.
Thinking this might, you know what I'm saying? I want her to get this test over with.
She got me up here confused, Your Honor.
Yeah, she got me confused too. As soon as I get on the phone with her, I'll see her put something on Facebook and it'll be about me.
So you think she's trying to maintain contact with you?
Yeah.
I know LaDonna's the father. He just needs to step up to the plate and...
For a second there, I thought Mr. Henderson and Mr. Brown turned into women with the way they began to yab. Oh well. Ms. Nesbitt sticks to her story and tells the judge that she believes Mr. Henderson is the father and she just wants him to step up and take responsibility.
What he's saying is there's a level of resentment that he feels as it relates to baby Zion. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So maybe he's not as involved because he truly has a question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Part of that you validated because you have a question.
Yes.
And I wants to be her father.
Oh, trust me, Judge. We all caught that too. Mr. Henderson actually wants to be the father of the child. Well, let's see if the DNA results are going to make his wishes come true. Here are the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not her father.
Oh!
But you're not going to clown today. Just calm down. Mr. Henderson, you are her father.
Told you was her father from the beginning.
In this case, Mr. Griffin had a 2-year affair with his wife's stepsister. Yup, you heard that right. The result of the affair produced a daughter, but the stepsister in question says he is not the father of the daughter. Trust me, you won't hear anything wilder than this case. Well, here's how it begins.
How do you end up having an affair with your sister's husband?
Not thinking, just being wild at that time of my age. I'm trying to fix it for her now.
She's definitely not wrong about that. The only way you can sleep with your sister's husband is if you don't care about anything or anyone but yourself. At least she admits to her wrong and hopes to make amends. Let's see how that goes, shall we?
That was an honest mistake, Your Honor, but at the same...
Wait, now there wasn't no mistaken identity.
Yeah,
you knew it was your wife's
I
sister.
understand.
Was it an honest mistake or a dishonest mistake?
Dishonest mistake. Mm-hmm.
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
Mr. Griffin can't be serious. Who sleeps with their wife's sister and calls it an honest mistake? The sexual affair lasted for a full cline 2 years. They just did not care, and that's the only honest truth about this situation.
How are you all spending this much time where this type of relationship could develop?
Because he was taking me home from when I used to go over to their house to visit my stepsister and stuff.
How long had you been married at the time, Mr. Griffin?
I'm still about 10 years.
So you all had known each other for an extended amount of time. Oh, this is all in the family.
Could the delusion be any worse than it already is? Thank goodness they are trying to correct their mistakes because they need an ass whooping for real. How can they even do such a thing? I mean, he was married for 10 good years. Yo, these guys have my jaws dropping every second.
But also, I did tell him he was the father, but at the time he also knew I was, with other people also, and he was a married man, so.
So you were admitting that during the window of conception, you were also sleeping with 2 other men?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell those men you were pregnant as
No,
well?
Your Honor, no.
Why did you only choose to tell Mr. Griffin?
Ms. Richmond must really like to play around in the bedroom. First, she sleeps with her sister's husband. Now she goes on to sleep with 2 other guys during the window of conception. I wonder what other truth is going to pop out of her mouth this time.
And she was young.
Jerome, let me see that.
And because if it wasn't my daughter, why would the reason she come and tell me that she was pregnant?
Were you with her all during the pregnancy?
No.
If not for this case, I'm pretty sure Mr. Griffin was going to take that truth to his deathbed. Sadly for him, the truth always finds a way to come out. It looks like they finally realized what they were doing was bad, and they decided to stay clear of each other.
Because I want to understand, at what point did you find out?
Like the first time someone brought his name up, and then we went to Albany when I was in the 3rd grade, and my aunt and my cousin say, oh, you look just like the Griffins. You look just like the Griffins. That's like what everybody always...
Mean. You can see it in her eyes that she hated the fact that her mother never told Ms. Tikia who her real dad was. I would hate myself if I didn't grow up with both of my parents. parents. Oh well, at least she's going to find out the truth today.
I got a message on MySpace from Lakeisha. Just a long little thing saying, I think you're my sister. And I'm just like, who is this girl? So
And wait, so when you first got the message, were you overwhelmed with emotion or did you feel like it was a prank?
What my mom say.
I mean, this is a very messed up situation, but I have to hand it to Mr. Griffin. He sure knows how to keep a secret. He couldn't even tell his actual daughter that she could possibly have a sister. Mrs. Griffin would have lost her mind when she found out about the whole thing.
We took a paternity test at that time, okay? I went on and did the child support, and she told me that, well, the test proves that he's not the father.
You were told he was not the father?
Yes.
All right, now I want to jump over to you. Mr. Griffin, do you remember submitting to this DNA testing years ago?
I do, and from my knowledge,
these stories just don't add up. Mr. Griffin tells the judge that he got paperwork stating him as the father, but Ms. Richmond says her own paperwork does not name him as the father. To make things worse, Ms. Tikia says there is no record of a DNA test being taken. I mean, who is lying?
All the way to Michigan to a wedding. So we did not go, and that was the day he died.
So sorry.
And he was a firefighter. I loved him to death, and he drowned. So, I mean, I just...
In the line of duty?
Yeah. If you go in Macon, Georgia, they renamed the area.
Wow. Ma, Tikia has really been through so much. Growing up without a father, only to end up losing her husband? That's just beyond heartbreaking. Let's see if the results would give her some form of comfort, shall we?
Mr. Griffin, you are not her father. 32 years of thinking you were this woman's father.
I'm just gonna have to help her find it because I got names for her. So whatever I gotta do to just gonna have to continue.
This is one epic church scandal that I promise you will never forget. Mr. House was in that courtroom to defend his name as he was being accused of fathering the child of a woman who was 28 years younger than him. Trust me, it was one hell of a case. The case began like this.
You're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Webster, you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House. Now, the second possible father you've identified, Mr. Miles Jones, currently waiting outside of the courtroom.
Yes.
Well, their funny little story started with a Bible study session. As Ms. Webster talked about how they met, she said she thought she was going to have a normal Bible session, but it ended in both her and Mr. House having unprotected sex.
And it kind of brought a connection. There was a connection. I thought she was hot. And after exchanging numbers, I decided that I wanted to follow up on this. So we just had a great time together.
Did you think it was a committed relationship?
No.
You didn't?
No. But as time began to go along,
they couldn't get their stories to align, and trust me, it wasn't surprising at all. Ms. Webster claimed that they met in church and things became sexual during one of their sessions. Mr. House, on the other hand, said they met at a food stand, and she was the one who wanted a sexual relationship with him.
Bishop House, is that proper language to use for a young woman?
Well, you know, in Hosea chapter 4, God goes my whore.
No. Well, we're not in Hosea chapter 4. We in paternity court, and I'm the judge, and in this courtroom, we're going to respect women. Now, you can tell the story.
Ms. Webster drops a truth bomb in the courtroom that leaves everyone speechless. While she was fooling around with our sleek pastor in her Bible sessions, she had a boyfriend. In her defense, she claimed her relationship was on and off, which eventually resulted in her having a sexual relationship with Mr. House.
Sleeping with someone else during that time?
Yeah, sure.
But I wasn't.
And who's that person?
Mr. Miles Jones.
Mr. Miles Jones. Now, who is he? How did you meet him? Was this a boyfriend? What was...
Yes, he was a boyfriend. We knew each other for 5 years, but it was an on and off relationship.
Mr. Jones, who happens to be the boyfriend in the picture, walks into the courtroom. Her relationship with Mr. Jones didn't particularly start as a romantic one. It began as a sexual one before they both started to have feelings for each other.
Casual sex? What were you guys doing?
At first it started off as casual sex for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I started catching feelings of serious relationship.
So you decided to make it serious?
Yes.
But at some point she started sleeping with Mr. House. Did you know that? You knew?
No.
Now Ms. Webster finds out she's pregnant. Of course, she doesn't tell her boyfriend because he has no idea she was intimate with her pastor. But guess what? After telling Mr. House, he is nowhere to be found. It's as if as soon as he finds out she's pregnant, he disappears from the surface of the earth.
I thought I was pregnant. I was trying to contact Mr. House. His phone was disconnected until after I had my baby, which he denied her to the fullest. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. He didn't want nothing to do with my baby.
That's not true.
And for his money to be on full when I asked him for diapers.
Mr. House had some doubts about the baby's paternity because she was in intimate relationships with a couple of other men who were not him. But hold up, that was not the craziest part of her story. She waited 6 months before telling him that she was pregnant and that he might be the father of her child.
Really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months. I said, so trying to tell me that it's mine? She said
5 to 6 months before you told him?
Well, I was 4 to 5
I didn't know at all.
So when you told him, I'm pregnant, did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
This was one hell of a case, if you ask me. The hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and fun ride with Mr. White and Ms. Webster. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
Pertaining to whether Mr. House or Mr. Miles Jones, it has been determined that Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father.
in my eyes, that's still my daughter.
So you plan to still be here for beautiful?
Yes. This has to be the most unbelievable court case on paternity court. Ms. Galloway got pregnant when she was just 14 and is in court to prove that Mr. Harris is the father of her child. Mr. Harris, on the other hand, became a father at the age of 12. Oh, you heard that right. Well, here's how the case started.
Child at 14 years old. Even with that young start, you maintain that all your children...
Yes, Your Honor.
You petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Harris is the father of your 9-month-old twins, Shekinah and Malachi Galloway.
Now that is just hilarious. I'm with the judge on this one. These guys started having kids at very young ages. I mean, who decides to have a child at 12? Where were their parents? Well, Mr. Harris says that they were never really in a relationship and it was more of a one-night stand.
His kids off and Mr. Harris here helped me to the door with my groceries. And he said, so when you gonna let me in the house? I said, what you talking about? He said, when you gonna let me come over? I said, the only time you're gonna come over is if we're having a Bible study. Okay, so, as time goes by, I do occasionally see him in the churches. And then there was a situation where he was gonna be walking.
Talk about the worst case scenario. This is all shades of wrong. The fact that all of this started from a church is just mind-blowing. Ms. Galloway says that they slept in the van and nothing happened while they did. Mr. Harris, on the other hand, remembers things differently and says they had sex.
You met him in church?
Yes.
And the next thing you know, you having sex with him in an abandoned van?
Yes, ma'am.
You did not use protection?
No, we did not use protection. It was like maybe 3 minutes, and then he was like, okay, I have to use the
3 minutes, 45 minutes.
I mean, that is a very good question. What does she mean by that? Jeez. Ms. Galloway says that the first time they had sex in the abandoned van, he did not make the cut as a good man in bed, so she decided to give him another chance. I'm sorry, but is this what they do in the church these days?
So January 18th is when I took the home pregnancy test, and that's when I sent him the text message and the pictures. Now, right after that, I went to the emergency room, and she said that you have 2 babies, and I'm like, okay, and this is 2 babies right here I see. So like, hold on now, she said we have just 2 babies.
Call me.
What is it with these people and having to post the truth about their situation on Facebook? Ms. Galloway admits to picking up the phone and telling Mr. Harris when she found out she was pregnant. But hold up, Mr. Harris said he got the news on Facebook.
Mr. Harris, you're saying that Ms. Galloway also slept with some other musicians.
Lonnie is a musician. He plays the keyboard.
And Lonnie is Mr. Samuel.
Right, Mr. Samuel.
And he's here in court with us as well.
I'm so glad. Because Mr. Samuel actually, and due to the fact that Mr. Samuel going behind...
I can't believe what my ears are hearing for real. Mr. Harris says that she also slept with another guy who plays the piano in their church. He even goes on to say that the dude she also slept with sleeps with several other girls in the church. The police better pay that church a visit.
The children's birth certificate.
Correct, Your Honor.
Where the father's information is
not
blank.
Correct.
Space intentionally.
Right.
If
she
you
had an
are,
option to
if
put the
he's
name right
acting
there,
how
and
he's
then
acting,
Duval
I'm
County
would have
contacted me and said,
go.
Mr. Harris needs you to come do a DNA test.
CF has been trying to get in contact with him.
Well, at least we can believe one thing. These two were definitely not in a relationship. With all this yelling and yapping, there is no way they could have lasted through a relationship. But Mr. Harris says that his name is not on the birth certificate because she doesn't know who the dad is.
So, ma'am, I am not the father
father of the twins. Look at him, y'all know. Think about it. Ray is known as being a hoe.
Okay, let's speak respectfully. Say it nicely.
Oh, dog, what are you? Your wife know you here right now?
Okay.
Your wife even know you down here, right?
We did.
How many of my women did you chase? Like, come on, Lonnie, let's be real.
Yeah.
Haha! It looks like the fight is now with Mr. Harris and the other dude Ms. Galloway might have slept with. The other dude claims that Mr. Harris sleeps with almost everyone in the church, and he knows for sure he is the father of the twins. Could he be right?
You not deny that child, y'all know. Then when the kids got sick, she tell me, I be like, where's Mr. Harris? Oh,
Lonnie, if you knew that, why you ain't never hit me in the inbox?
Think about it. Now you know. Okay, baby, basically when the twins got sick, I asked Mr. Galloway, I said, where's Ray? She said, he's not doing enough for the kids. He's not trying to do nothing.
That's surprising. The other guy says that he never had a sexual relationship with Ms. Galloway. He says that he loves children, and all he did was step up for the twins since Mr. Harris was not doing anything or helping in any way to take care of the kids.
Just like that. If you want to know something, tell her to give me a DNA test and we can go from there. Then I hung up the phone on him. What I'm gonna pay you some money for and you ain't even taking care of your own responsibility.
How much money specifically have you lost because of this?
Altogether, about $3,900.
He claims that I'm the one that's slandering his name, but then he also says that all these women are trying to pin babies on him.
I mean, Judge Lauren isn't wrong, though. They sure seem to know how to do a lot of research. They might as well have done proper research on the disadvantages of having sex with multiple people. Well, let's get the results out and see if they've been telling the truth.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Samuel, you are not the father. Mr. Harris, you are the twins' father. Well, my research says that you're in fact the biological father.
Ms. Webster recently learned that the man she called Daddy while growing up may actually not be her father. She dragged the defendant, Mr. Ware, to court to prove that he is her actual father. Could she be wrong or right? Who knows? I guess we are about to find out. The case begins like this.
Sir, you recently learned shocking news that Myron Smith, and who paid child support for you, may not be your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Ware, to paternity court to prove that he is your father.
They do not have the same blood type? That explains why she's in search of who her real father could be. But discovering this kind of information after 40 years is very insane. I guess the truth always has its way of popping out.
Cousin, Miss Smith, and she said, I really believe in my heart that Mr. Ware is your father.
Really?
I had a baby book for a long time, and I never really started putting things together until the blood type wasn't the same. And I'm looking in the baby book, and there's relatives of Mr. Ware's family that signed in.
Well, that's not something you get to see or hear every day. Apparently, she tells the judge that while she was going through a picture book when she was much younger, some family relatives of Mr. Ware had signed the book and brought her gifts. Again, that's not something you see or hear every day.
You do not believe you're her biological father?
No, I do not. Because at the time when her mom and I were dating, she was in between two cities. She explained to me that she was and that it was another man's child.
So she told you?
Yes, she did.
That it was someone else's baby?
Yes, she did.
To be very honest, I would also take her word for it if I were that age. If she says I'm not the father, then I am not the father. I'm sure the judge would give anything right now to hear Ms. Webster's mom's side of the story.
I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. I just been praying, that I find out who my father is. There's things in my life, and knowing who my father is one of them. And I came to the Lord. I went to the altar. They had altar call. I just prayed that God give me a sign to reveal.
I hope the kids are watching this. Miracles do happen in the church, and it seems like Ms. Webster's case is about to be one of those miracles. She claims that after crying and praying in the church, Mr. Ware appeared right behind her and she believed him to be her father.
Something. It's got to be some energy. It's got to be something. You are a deacon, right?
Yes, I am.
And he's a spiritual person.
Did you know it was her? Did you know it was Miss Webster, this baby?
I did not.
That you knew before she even left the womb?
No, I did not know at that time until she introduced herself.
What is it with old people and always keeping secrets? Ms. Webster just tells the judge that after her time in the church, she went to see Mr. Ware's mom. And to her surprise, his mom recognized her and asked where she had been all this while. I would lose my mind if that happened to me.
Mr. Ware was like a part of our family. I know what Miss Webster may have told him, that he wasn't the father, but I believe in my heart to move back to Dayton, Ohio, that she left her pregnant.
How is it that as the cousin, you know more than the mother? Or is it something you observed? Miss Webster was conceived.
Yes.
Your cousin, which is her mother.
Seems like Ms. Webster's cousin has all the answers we're looking for. She goes on to tell Judge Lauren that the reason Ms. Webster's mother told Mr. Wade was not the father was because she had gotten into a relationship with another man around the time she was pregnant.
You have been paying child support.
Yes, I have.
But you don't believe you're her biological father.
No, I don't. I can tell you why.
Please.
Miss Webster was born September the 17th, which means that she had to be conceived either late December or January of 76 or late December of 75.
Ha ha ha. Mr. Smith sure came with his facts. Apparently, he happens to be the man who Ms. Webster called daddy, and also the man who has been paying child support. Even with all of that, he still says he is certain he is not the father of the child. Isn't that interesting?
And who is her biological father?
Her biological father is Mr. Myron Smith.
Standing right there.
Yes.
He says he was gone. He was serving the time that she was conceived. Is that not true?
But Mr. Smith also came home on leave.
Ow! Looks like the skeletons are about to pop out of the closet. Finally, Ms. Brady walks into the courtroom and she says that Mr. Smith is Ms. Webster's biological father. Why? Well, she remembers him coming home on leave, and after they kicked it in bed, she got pregnant. But Mr. Smith says he doesn't remember that side of the story.
You know
Yes.
it's him.
Yes.
And you're positive.
Yes.
So when Mr. Ware talks about being there and rubbing your stomach and all of that, you weren't also in a relationship with him?
I was in a relationship with Mr. Ware. He was my supporter.
I mean, I don't know what to say. This woman is not going to take yes for an answer. She insists with her claim that Mr. Smith is the biological father of her daughter, regardless of the fact that she was also intimate with Mr. Dare. I honestly do not know what could be more complicated than this. Well, here come the results.
When it comes to 40-year-old Demisha Webster, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Smith, you are not her father.
Now I can promise you that this particular case will leave you imagining the wildest things and asking yourself, how can this even be possible? Well, I hope you're ready, guys, because you are definitely about to be wowed. This was how the case began in the courtroom.
You're here because you say certain facts have come to light that make you believe that you fathered one of Miss Thorpe's twins and not. You claim a botched home DNA test separated you from your daughter London, and you intend to rectify that issue today. Is that correct?
It all started in an outrageous manner, with Mr. Morris claiming to have only fathered one child out of the pair of twins that were born by his girlfriend, Ms. Thorpe. Does that even make any sense? How do you father one child out of a pair of twins? Damn.
Originally, I was believed that both of them, over time, certain circumstances, made me feel like neither were mine. And then after that, different things happened that made me believe just London was.
Their relationship didn't particularly start off as the typical Sleeping Beauty and Princess Charming kind of sire. There were loopholes, trust me, and Ms. Thorpe didn't waste any time in stating them without hesitation.
I told Antoine that I wanted to be in a relationship with him, and he turned me down because he's still in love with the mother of his other child. So when that time happened, I got upset and I started messing with another guy.
Okay, and this was after you were already intimate with Mr. Morris?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Thorpe finds out she's pregnant, and of course she tells Mr. Morris. Is he happy about it? Well, he sure is, and he seems like the happiest man in the world. But all good things don't last now, do they? We are definitely gonna find out if this is one of those situations.
I was ecstatic. I was very, very happy. Like, I went all out. I bought two of everything. It cost a lot. It was bassinets here, strollers there, car seats, moved her into a family member house during her pregnancy, try to make her as comfortable as...
That's the least you could do.
In no time, the sweet baby daddy turned into the doubtful baby daddy. He starts asking himself questions like, are they really mine? Should I get a DNA test done? What if she lied to me from the beginning? All shades of doubt start to settle in Mr. Morris's head.
All right, so you send the results in, and of course, how do they come back?
0% probability.
But you do understand that you didn't even use the swabs right.
I would just hope, I don't know.
Now, finding out the twins aren't his, he texts his baby mama, being all angry and furious. When he doesn't get a reply from her, what does he do? He goes to social media and posts the news everywhere, saying he isn't the kid and his baby mama lied to him. Trust me, he's one crazy person.
Told me that the DNA test came back and that the twins were not his. At the time, I didn't respond automatically because, like I said, I was at work, posting it all over social media and telling everybody. He posted all over social media and told everybody that.
The bombshells continue to drop, and things start to blow out of proportion. Another surprise comes in. Mr. Morris wasn't the regular old Mr. Good Guy he was claiming to be. He got another woman pregnant. Oops. Now that's a lot from him. Oh, trust me, Judge Lauren was about to lose her cool.
Oh, you had 2 women pregnant at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you on team too much all the way around. All the way around.
Yes, ma'am.
So you had another baby by another woman at the same time.
The same reason when I was telling Imani why I couldn't be in a relationship with her, because I was in a long-term relationship with someone else.
The beautiful thing about this situation was the fact that Mr. Morris had an amazing relationship with the twins. He told the judge that even though he had doubts about one of them, he still treated them with so much love and care.
What kind of relationship do you have with the twins now?
Great.
They call you daddy?
No.
They're 4.
They call me Uncle Twan.
Uncle Twan?
Yes.
You done gone through all this only for the children and now call you Uncle Twan?
I didn't tell them to.
Oh, you told them to, Miss Thorpe?
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Morris and Ms. Thorpe. All eyes on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, because here come the DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Morris, you are not the father. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Morris, you are not the father. Miss Thorpe, somewhere inside of you, you knew this was a very real possibility.
That you weren't just acting a fool because you so mad at him because he cheated on you that you would cheat your child out of a father. What you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for?
Ms. St. James's story is a shocking tale of unexpected revelations and deep family secrets. For 33 years, she believed she was a daddy's girl until her father dropped a bombshell after an argument, claiming she wasn't his daughter. Talk about a devastating moment.
Miss St. James, you claim for the first 33 years of your life you were a daddy's girl. But just 6 months ago, after an argument, your father dropped a bomb on you and said, "You are not my daughter." You and your brother have opened a case to prove paternity today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. St. James recounts how she wrote her father a heartfelt letter expressing her disappointment in his absence from her and her children's lives. His response was nothing short of shattering. He told her she wasn't his biological daughter. This was the first time she ever heard of any paternity doubt.
What happened 6 months ago?
I wrote my dad a letter right before Christmas, a couple weeks before Christmas, just telling him how I felt about him not being in his grandchildren's lives and how he's not being the father that we need since we lost our mother at a young age. And that was his response, is the reason why.
Mr. Esau admits he has always believed Miss St. James wasn't his biological daughter, but never found the right moment to tell her. For 33 years, he kept this secret, causing immense stress and anxiety for Miss St. James when it finally came out. Can you imagine living with such uncertainty?
What happened, Mr. Esau? How did this all start?
6 months ago. It's something that I've always wanted to talk to her about and tell her, and it just never was the right time.
Is it your testimony that for 33 years you have known that Miss St. James was not your biological daughter?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. St. James describes the last 6 months as pure hell. She talks about the daily anxiety, weight loss, and the struggle of raising her autistic son while dealing with this emotional turmoil. Her pain is palpable, and it's heart-wrenching to hear.
Tell the court, what has this 6 months been like?
I've been throwing up every day. I have anxiety. I have stress. I have an autistic son that I'm trying to raise. I've been just, ever since, I can't eat. I'm losing weight. I'm just torn apart. He's just trying to kill me, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna die.
Judge Lake delves into the history between Mr. Esau and Ms. St. James's mother. Their relationship started when they were young, and although there were doubts about the paternity early on, they continued their relationship and even got married. This makes the current revelation even more complicated.
From the beginning, she transferred into the school that I was going to. I seen her that morning, and she looked good. So I'm like, well, everybody's kind of like, wow, who's that? And I asked her if she wanted to go to the party. And she said yes, picked her up, and that's when I first had sex, and it just kind of went on from there.
Ms. St. James's mother and grandmother both had discussions about the timeline of conception, which added to the doubts. Despite these doubts, Mr. Esau continued to be a father figure in Ms. St. James's life. The family dynamics here are incredibly complex.
Her mom found out she was pregnant. Were you told?
She told me yes.
And so take me back to that time.
Basically, she told me she was pregnant, and I'm like, okay. You're 18, you're like, okay, like, wow. You don't really know how to really react, but I was like, okay, wow, she's pregnant. And it wasn't until the doctor told her how far along she was, and doing the math, it was before me.
Ms. St. James's brother, KJ, also shares his perspective, expressing how this revelation feels like an attack on their family, possibly stemming from anger due to past disputes. He emphasizes that he always believed Ms. St. James was his full sister. This adds another layer of emotional complexity to the case.
Through my whole life, I thought that Jasmine was my sister. We were the only ones that came from my mom and him, so that's all I've known, him being my father. So to get this news like this is just, it's hurting as far as, the allegations put upon my mother.
Miss St. James recalls a phony call from her father in 2009 when he hinted at not being her biological father. Although he later retracted the statement, this incident planted a seed of doubt that has now grown into a full-blown crisis. This incident shows how deep-seated these doubts have been.
That Mr. Esau, your father is not your sister's biological father.
Well, my dad did call me one time in 2009. He had a little liquor in him, and he was crying, and he said that Jasmine might not be his.
And what did you say?
I said, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He called him back and told him.
Finally, Judge Lake prepares to read the DNA results. The tension in the courtroom is palpable as everyone awaits the truth. Ms. St. James hopes for clarity and resolution after months of emotional turmoil. The anticipation is at an all-time high as the court prepares to reveal the life-changing results.
Mr. Esau.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not the father.
Can I give her a hug?
That's better. I can accept it.
And I'm sorry I waited so long. I mean, I've always taken responsibility for talking to her, of not telling her. That was her right to know. And I should have told her, she should have been told a long time ago, not when she's 33 years old.
Mr. Thompson and Miss Taylor's story is one for the books. These two have been through a whirlwind of emotions over the years. Miss Taylor claims that Mr. Thompson is not the father of her 18-year-old daughter, Melinda Turner. But wait, it gets juicier because Mr. Thompson has been searching for Melinda for 14 years, convinced she's his daughter.
Miss Taylor, you are here to prove to your ex, Mr. Thompson, that he is not your 18-year-old daughter's father. You say he's accusing you of disappearing and hiding your daughter, Miss Turner, for 14 years. But you claim you kept her away because you are certain he is not her father.
Miss Taylor starts off by explaining why she kept her daughter away from Mr. Thompson. She mentions that his lifestyle at the time wasn't suitable for her daughter. Also, Miss Taylor's mother had a big say in keeping Mr. Thompson away, and when Miss Taylor came back home, Mr. Thompson had disappeared. Talk about drama.
First off, the lifestyle that Mr. Thompson was living at the time, I really didn't want that for my daughter. And my mother had my daughter while I was going through something. And I spoke with my mother about him coming to see her. And my mother said no, she would let me handle it when I got back.
Mr. Thompson, on the other hand, insists he knew about the pregnancy and was involved in it until Miss Taylor disappeared. He had no clue where she went and no information about the baby. Can you imagine not knowing if your child is a boy or a girl? That's the situation Mr. Thompson was in. It's mind-blowing.
Mr. Thompson, did you know Miss Taylor was pregnant?
Yes.
Were you involved in the pregnancy?
Yes.
You were? In which way?
She was pregnant 3 months. We were still together. And then that's when, she went her way and I went mine. But she just up and disappeared.
So
I moved to another state.
Did you move to another state before or after you had the baby?
After.
Miss Taylor drops a bombshell revealing she was having an affair with a married man before meeting Mr. Thompson. This revelation adds a whole new layer of complexity. She strongly believes the married man could be her daughter's father. And guys, it gets even crazier when she admits admits to telling her daughter that Mr. Thompson is her father.
During this time, before I met Mr. Thompson, I was having an affair with a married man. And honestly, I didn't know if it was the married man's child or Mr. Thompson's child.
This other man, the man you were dating, you're saying that child was by him?
I have strong feelings that the married man is my daughter's father.
When Melinda Turner finally enters the courtroom, it's emotional. She shares how in 2012, her mother told her Mr. Thompson was her father and they formed a relationship. But just last week, she learned there might be another potential father. Imagine thinking you know who your dad is, only to have that ripped away.
Well, in 2012, my mom informed me that Mr. Thompson was my biological father. And so I kind of formed a relationship with him from then on.
Before 2012, who did you believe your father was?
I didn't have one.
Melinda expresses how hurtful it was growing up without a father. She missed having both parents at her events and felt the void deeply. You can't help but feel for her. She points out that if her mom wanted to protect her, she should have been honest from the beginning. Miss Taylor acknowledges this and apologizes, but the damage is done.
And then 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, they tell you that may not be, that it's almost like getting ripped from you. What did you feel like in that moment?
I was very hurt because I formed a relationship with Mr. Thompson, and then to hear that there could be another guy. If he's not my father, then I have this relationship with somebody that I don't really even know like that.
Mr. Thompson is heartbroken, as he always believed Melinda was his daughter. He shares how he told his other children that Melinda was their sister. The bond they formed is now hanging in the balance, and guys, you can see how much this is tearing everyone apart.
I think me trying to protect her, what I'm getting from all of this is that I hurt her more than anything. That's what I'm seeing. And I want for my daughter to find whatever peace that she's trying to find.
And I have to come to court to find out who my father is.
Finally, the DNA results are in and the courtroom is tense. Judge Lake is about to read the results, and you can feel the suspense in the air. Will Mr. Thompson be confirmed as Melinda's biological father, or is there another twist in this emotional tale? The stakes couldn't be higher.
Mr. Thompson, you are not her father. I'm so sorry. Miss Taylor, do you know where the man that you say would be the other possibility? Do you know where he is?
Yes.
You do.
Ms. Dandridge's story is a heart-wrenching tale of searching for her biological father. After years of uncertainty, she believes she has finally found him. She reveals to Judge Lake that she recently got a name, Joseph Lester Sigmund, and is now ready to meet him for the first time. Talk about nerve-wracking.
You say you are here to determine if you finally found your biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You believe is that man, though you've never laid eyes on him before.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dandridge shares how she discovered adoption papers when she was just a child. She thought her sister's dad was her father until she stumbled upon the truth. Can you imagine the shock of finding out your dad isn't who you think he is? This emotional roller coaster starts with Ms. Miller claiming Mr. Rasmussen only wants custody for financial benefits.
Ms. Miller, you're here to prove to your ex-boyfriend Scotty Rasmussen that he is not the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Zaylee Rasmussen.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you've been in an ongoing court battle over custody and have petitioned the court several times for a DNA test, all of which have been denied.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rasmussen, however, drives 160 miles every other weekend to see Zaylee. He insists that his commitment is about love and not money. Despite their rocky relationship and infidelity, he believes Zaylee is his daughter and has been there since day one. Talk about dedication.
The real reason Ms. Miller is denying your Zaylee's father is because she hates you. You say you've been there for your daughter her entire life, and you're here today to prove you are Zaylee's father.
Yes, Your Honor. She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off.
Ms. Miller argues that Zaylee was conceived while Mr. Rasmussen was in another state. She admits to being with another man during that time. This claim creates a tangled web of doubts and conflicting timelines, making the case even more complicated.
You don't believe he's her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
So explain to me why.
When she was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state.
he was in Vegas. And at that time in March, I wasn't even with him. I was with somebody else because he broke up with me.
Mr. Rasmussen recalls being fully involved during the pregnancy and birth. He vividly describes rushing to the hospital through snow-covered roads, beating Ms. Miller there, and being present throughout the birth. His story is filled with passion and commitment. Can you imagine the determination?
I was at the birth. I was at every single doctor's appointment. When Zaylee was born, you were at a doctor's appointment. I was at home because I had to work that day. I went up to my manager, my immediate supervisor, said, hey, I gotta go. My girlfriend's in labor. I went home, quickly changed my clothes, and I drove about 45 miles through a winded, wooded road in Wisconsin in December, mind you, so it was about a foot of snow on the ground.
Ms. Miller disputes Mr. Rasmussen's account, stating he was distant and uninvolved. She reveals that the more Zaylee grew, the more she saw features of the other man. Despite these doubts, Mr. Rasmussen signed the birth certificate and continued to fight for his rights as a father. This is a case of emotions running high.
How do you remember it?
After she was born, he was gone. He ran out of the room. I didn't see him for 20 minutes after that. While I was in labor, he was sitting on one of those hospital cot beds on his computer in the corner, not paying attention to me, in his own little bubble.
Despite Ms. Miller's doubts, Mr. Rasmussen maintained his involvement, undergoing a strict visitation process. He cherishes every moment with Zaylee, making memories despite financial and emotional challenges. His bond with Zaylee is undeniable and heartfelt.
I'm not even quite sure. After we broke up, he changed his number, he moved, he pretty much disappeared. I have tried to find him, I have tried to get a hold of him, and I can't find him.
But you keep saying Mr. Rasmussen cheated, he did this, he did that. And as wrong as that may be, you also slept with somebody else.
We weren't even dating.
Judge Lake questions why Ms. Miller kept the potential paternity issue a secret for so long. Ms. Miller admits noticing more features of the other man as Zaylee grew. This revelation leads to a tense moment as both parties confront the harsh realities of their situation. Drama unfolds.
Why was it that you were keeping this information so close to your hip until 5-6 months after Zaylee was born?
The more she grew up, the more I started noticing more of her features, the more she started looking like the other guy.
She looks exactly like I did when I was 3 years old. I have a picture of me when I was 3 and a picture of her from just the other day.
Let me see that.
The moment of truth arrives as Judge Lake prepares to read the DNA results. The tension in the courtroom is palpable. Mr. Rasmussen expresses his hope and fear, knowing that the results will change his life forever. The anticipation is almost unbearable.
So, Mr. Rasmussen, let me ask you, are you prepared? Have you prepared yourself either way? If this child is my biological child or if she isn't, have you thought about both alternatives?
In a sense, yes. If it goes the way I'm hoping and I know in my heart that it will, that she is mine.
As Judge Lake opens the envelope, the stakes couldn't be higher. The entire courtroom holds its breath, waiting for the life-changing revelation. The episode ends with an emotional climax, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats. What a dramatic conclusion.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
I'm sorry.
Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you. What you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me on my child. What you cheering for?
Crazy fights on paternity court.
You are not.
I knew it. Go find your baby daddy. Put somebody else on child support. I want my money back. I want my money back. I told you I wasn't the father of that child.
Were you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Then shut up.
Now you shut up. No.
You shut up.
Mr. Davis, first of all, I control this court. Now you can take it to the street and you'll be out on the street.
In this baby daddy drama, Mr. Matlock rolls back from a trip to find his girl knocked up. Plot twist? Miss Monroe? Well, she let her ex crash at their place while he was away. Crazy, right? Well, despite knowing all this, Mr. Matlock gives her a pass. But now, with a kid in the picture, his love vibe has totally flipped.
Back in 2006, when me and Miss Monroe first got together, she knew I was back and forth from Fort Smith to Fayetteville because I have a son down in that area. Back in 07, I was down there for a week.
No,
it was a week.
You said you were going to be gone a weekend and you were gone a month.
It was a week. You're
you
lying.
It
was a week.
You were gone a month.
Anyway, Your Honor.
Look, Miss Monroe's playing the I called him non-stop card, but Mr. Matlock left her on read. She figured he was pulling a disappearing act. Oh, Lord, that's not how a relationship plays out, girl. Get with the program.
Ms. Monroe, when he went out of town, did he voluntarily call you at all while he was gone?
Live.
Maybe
Not one call.
maybe 2 or 3 times, like the whole time he was gone.
Okay, so 2 or 3 times you did speak to him.
Yes.
But when you called him, he didn't return your
He
call.
would not answer my call.
Okay.
Hold up. So she dropped the bomb that she never picked up the phone, right? But here's the kicker. This chick's all over the place with her story. And on top of that, Mr. Plaintiff needs to raise the curtain on how he's been tight with her since he was knee-high to a grasshopper.
I get a phone call from my sister. What's up?
You ain't who
May
you
pregnant.
pretended to be.
Whoa, what you mean May pregnant? I just talked to her on the phone.
I told you that.
And you told my sister that you were pregnant.
Well, ain't this a hot mess? What's the deal with keeping the bun in the oven on the down low, Miss Monroe? But hold on to those hats, because she clarified to Mr. Matlock that it's his spawn. But, you know, that's a whole nother saga. And Mr. Matlock's diving deep into the dating game like there's no tomorrow.
If you would have been real about it in the beginning, I would have been there for you.
What you done for
don't
her?
never know. If you wouldn't have said, hey, it's not your baby, and would have just kept it real and meant, hey, it's a possibility, we could have worked on it,
told your
and we
sister
could have
that.
been still probably been together. You
No,
never
I
know.
told your
You
sister
said
that.
out of your mouth.
Oh,
You
I
said
told your
you are
sister
not
that.
the father.
In the midst of this crazy paternity circus, give it up for Mr. Matlock. He's no deadbeat. Dude's shelling out that child support cash, staying true to his side of the deal, even though he's riding the uncertainty wave. And would you believe it? The baby mama doesn't even seem to give props for that. Total lack of appreciation, man.
I need to understand how you started paying child support.
Because he sent me papers with all his information to put him on child support so he could get it.
We
Yes,
wanted to get a
yes,
DNA test
shut
done
up.
because
No,
she didn't want to
that's
get
not
the
what
DNA
happened.
test done. It's
You
been
wanted to take
it's
Bill
been 3 or 4 years, and she didn't never want to know who the father of this child was.
Hold the phone. Mr. Matlock's getting handed the dad title by default, and the mama's playing it all sneaky. Time for Judge Lauren to lay down the law and manually untangle this web of drama. She's like, enough with the suspense, and straight up drops the bomb by calling for the results. Let's see who's really in the parenting spotlight.
You are not.
I knew it. Go find your baby daddy. Put somebody else on child support. I want my money back. I want my money back. I told you I wasn't the father of that child. Knew it from the beginning. Trifling. Knew it. I knew it.
Imagine finding out that the dude you've always thought was your pop suddenly drops a bomb and says, nah, I ain't your real dad. Because who cares about that hefty child support payment, right? Reuben's sisters were straight up in front of Judge Lake, demanding their supposed old man spill the tea and finally clear the air.
He always denied me. He always treated me differently. I mean, I just feel like he never treated me fair. With my brother and sister, he will bring things around like one Christmas, he bring a whole bunch of toys around, get them toys on top of toys, and then tell them, oh, play with your sister. Never brought me anything, always treated me differently.
Mr. Davis had his Super Saiyan mode on for this interaction. Turns out he was taking the frustration of Reuben's mother and projecting it onto his alleged children. God damn! And this thought alone made the siblings go kamikaze.
Neither one of you all was in there when it started, okay? She had 3 kids before I met her.
Okay,
she had
don't
you
mean
3,
to step around.
supposedly
She
had
was
you 3
wearing
with
fur.
me, and now she has
don't mean
how
to
many
step
more
around.
after me?
She was
I get a
wearing
grand
fur.
total of 13.
Come on, you ain't did nothing anyways. You
Ladies and gentlemen, you believe their mother had slept around and was unfaithful to you. You were in a relationship at the time.
Check this out. When the Reubens catch the judge's vibe, Mr. Big Daddy flips his lid too. Seriously, folks, you're in a courtroom, not shooting the breeze in your backyard. You know what they say, a leopard can't ditch its spots. So the judge had to drop some knowledge, and it took a hot minute.
I need to know from you whether you ever were in all of their lives as a father. Were you ever just there?
No. Were you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Then shut up.
Now you shut up.
No.
You shut up.
Mr. Davis, first of all, I control this court. Now you can take it to the street and you'll be out on the street.
You nailed it, Lauren. Well, anyway, right after that, Daddy starts claiming he wasn't exactly an angel either, doing some cave sniffing himself. But get this, the parents keep going back and forth like a seesaw, and their shady moves and commitment drama wreck 3 innocent lives. Talk about a hot mess.
After my first child, like I said, when I met her, and she had 3 kids before I met her.
That has nothing to do with what's going on now.
You know, while we was having a relationship, I don't believe I believe the judge was talking to me.
Why make broken promises then?
Okay,
Why sit right there and act like
that's on me. That's on me. That's on me.
So, in the ongoing family drama, there's still a bunch of loose ends. Next up, the judge brings in the brother for some testimony. And guess what? Daddy testified that he was just trying to make sure about the paternity gig because he's freaked about the fam illness getting passed down. Are you seriously buying that? Like, really?
What do you have to say about this?
As far as me hearing about this DNA test, it surprised me because if you ask for a DNA test and you claim I'm yours, you know what I'm saying? And then I hear that it's about disease in the family. Why would you wait after 27 years just to come to me with this? It's something you should have told me on the phone, do something, let me know what's happening.
So the dude claims it's all about goodwill. But let's be real here. Every tub's gotta stand on its own bottom, right? Well, Judge Lauren grilled Mr. Davis about his freakouts regarding either inheriting some illness or getting slapped with a fat child support bill.
Please tell me this child support situation. Are you aware that he was making these payments?
The point of it is they take it. I've been married to Johnny 22 years. Never an income tax check has came into our house. It goes to y'all. I don't know where. I filed with my husband with my 3 children that I have.
The broken fam had their eyes glued to that DNA result. No leniency on the table. It's like when love and respect bail. Only the raw truth holds folks together. No beating around the bush. Let's get real.
This court has determined that you are. Take her phone.
You already knew that. Already knew that.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Child support. Here I come.
I don't worry about it. Come with it.
Yeah.
Talk about a tangled web. So in this crazy scenario, the dude who might be the baby daddy bit the dust. And get this, he's been throwing shade on the whole paternity situation before kicking the bucket. Now, Miss Hooker's landed in the paternity court showdown, facing off with the late dad's mom.
How have you been affected by Miss Baker's doubts about Kanaya's paternity?
I'm just sad sometimes. I try to deal with it now. Like, I really don't care no more. That's how I feel. I don't care anymore. I don't care who feel nothing about my baby. I don't care. It just seemed like everybody else looking upside my head like I'm an animal or something. Like, every time I'm sitting down doing something, they looking at me like I'm just outcast of the group. She looked like me, so why's the problem?
The baby mama's wearing her distress like a neon sign, no doubt. But here's the kicker. Miss Baker's playing it stubborn, swearing up and down that her son ain't the dad. It's like a rock-solid belief in the alleged baby daddy's fam. Brace yourselves, because tensions are about to hit the roof from here on out. It's drama central, folks.
My son was on vacation. We kept hearing that Denia was pregnant, but then when we finally found out for sure, he told me. He said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denia. And he made me promise that we was gonna get a blood test.
Hold on to your hats, because guess what? There's a wild card in the mix. Miss Baker testified in court saying there was another dude in the picture. This mystery man dropped the bomb on the alleged baby daddy that when he wasn't around, he and Mama Bear were getting cozy.
Keyshawn only denied the baby when him and my daughter was arguing. Other than that, I have pictures with him laying on her stomach. He had doubts only when he was angry. And I cannot get mad at what he tell his mother or nothing like that. But when he came over there with us, he held the baby, kissed the baby, and loved the baby. We just need to get the results from Miss Carolyn.
Miss Hooker's acting as chill as a teen rolling her eyes at a family dinner. But here comes Miss Coates at Hooker's crib. Apparently, there are some mix-ups and emotions in the mix. Get this, she got wind of Hooker's bun in the oven through her own daughter and grandkid, who share the same school bus ride.
Did he give you any proof or anything that there was this other guy? Because Miss Hooker testified that this was the only person she was sleeping with.
I think he just went off what they're saying in their circle of kids. You know, they talk, they have their own.
Yeah, the boy was telling him that,
you
know, when you were away, I was messing with her.
Whoa, hold your horses, miss. Going down that road might set off a powder keg of drama. Well, anyway, the vibe here is thick with emotion. But suppose Grandma's laser focused on her son's alleged promises, making this whole situation a roller coaster of feelings. It's like an emotional whirlwind, folks.
She feel like Miss Bland left her out of the obituary on purpose. And that's why she has so much animosity towards Toy.
I just feel like this. When this come back and it's the baby, I don't want no sorries from nobody. Keep your sorries. I don't want no sorries.
I'm not giving you a sorry.
Okay? I'm not asking you to.
Shut up.
Hold up, Jerome. Dude, where are you at? We're not looking for a one-punch man showdown here, all right? This ain't the WWE. We're in a courtroom, not the ring. So, Miss Hooker, let's pivot from the potential smackdown and keep our eyes on the prize, the DNA results. No need for unnecessary fireworks. Let's get to the bottom of this with some hard facts.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Baker and Kenaya is 0%.
They won't go tell me sorry, so I'm not telling them nothing.
Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Nobody did anything to you, honey.
I don't care.
Nobody
do nothing to me, but I don't like you. I don't like you.
Miss Hubbard, holding it down as the solo breadwinner for her 2-year-old Amiria, storms into the paternity court all fired up. She's out to drop the truth bomb and prove Mr. Watson is the biological dad. And just like in some top-notch reality TV drama, the trial kicks off with all that spicy energy.
I told Mr. Watson when I got pregnant, when I conceived, when the last time we did have sex with each other, and that was in February of 2012, and I had her in November of 2012, and he knew about her the whole pregnancy. He didn't come around until like when I was in the hospital with her.
Miss Hubbard, totally fed up, spilled the beans about how she straight up called out the defendant for lacking empathy in this whole messed up situation, saying over the 2 years, Mr. Watson didn't even try to step up for little Amiria. She went so far as to sell his gear for $100 just to cover some of the kids' bills.
You say that Mr. Watson hasn't done anything for Amiria. Mr. Watson, is that true? Have you done anything for this child?
No, ma'am, I haven't done anything for this child.
You admit you've done nothing?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that, sir?
Because I don't think this is my baby, because she lied.
But your
You had sex with Miss Hubbard,
But your family members
Right, but she
Did you use
her.
protection?
No, ma'am.
Oh boy. But seriously, why was Mr. Watson not keeping his eyes on the prize? What made him all uncertain about the kiddo, aside from the drama with Miss Hubbard? Dude rolls into court with some homemade calendar laying out the deets about her pregnancy. Let me go ahead and break it down for you.
When I went to the doctor in March, when I missed my period for the next month, they told me I could see it on Valentine's Day. And I had my baby November the 17th, 2012.
But in October, when you told him you were pregnant the second time.
I didn't tell him in October I was pregnant. I never told him in October I was pregnant.
But you would have been about ready to have the baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's lying.
Hold up! Messing with the dates is like messing with your kid's whole future. Mr. Watson's out here justifying his doubts, throwing her diary in the court's face. And get this, Miss Provider's been keeping a collection of, condom wrappers from her past hookups. Talk about nasty business.
You take the condom wrappers in the diary?
I was young doing stuff. So,
and then you did a rating?
No, I didn't do no rating. No.
She did a rating.
It says this guy got a yes with an exclamation.
She a freak.
He's adding stuff. He adding stuff.
I'm steering clear of that mess. But anyway, let's cut to the chase here. Miss Hubbard spills that all the other family members are dead sure it's his spawn, but he's playing the denial game. She's pushing for a DNA test to drop the truth bomb and make him step up for his little girl. It's time to put up or shut up.
I don't care if he's there or not. I'm still gonna provide for her. I don't want my baby to be confused, be like, where my dad is, why he ain't been around. Just leave her alone. I mean, I'm doing this by myself. All 5 of them. I don't need no more stress, no more nothing. I have a 5-year-old, and my mama is this age.
One day she talked to a dude straight in my face.
The last piece of the puzzle? Rebuilding the trust between these two lovebirds. And you know what that means. The DNA results. No time to twiddle our thumbs. Judge Lauren's all about making things happen. Here's how it all went down.
Mr. Watson, you are Amiria's father.
Deadbeat. Like I told you.
Sorry. I promise I am. I just always had doubt, man, because you've been lying on them dates.
I'm straight.
You've been lying on them dates, and I'm willing to take care of her.
Affairs always have consequences, and Mr. Griffin and Ms. Richmond are going to find out the hard way in Judge Lake's paternity court. It may have been decades ago, but we are here to know the truth about this crazy secret affair's possible result.
Mr. Griffin, you were a married man who had a 2-year affair with your wife's stepsister, the defendant. That relationship produced a daughter, but Ms. Richmond claims you are not her daughter's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is an entirely different turn in the history of paternity court cases. A man wanting the supposed child from his old affair to be his? That's shocking. But Mr. Griffin seems serious about it, but Ms. Richmond is hell-bent on the child not belonging to Mr. Griffin, even though she accepted they had an affair. Okay.
Mr. Griffin, I have to ask you now. I mean, you a married man, and it's bad enough you sleeping around outside the marriage. But your wife's sister?
That was an honest mistake.
2 years? That wasn't no mistake. It wasn't even an affair. That's a whole relationship right there. These two were meant to be in-laws, but they proceeded to a crazy mess, and now the mess is in the open. While Ms. Richmond says it was young age that didn't make her think, Mr. Griffin claims it was an honest mistake, but it sounds a lot like a dishonest mistake.
So for 2 years, you were sleeping with your wife's sister?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
Often, very often.
Without protection?
Without protection.
You should be able to be alone with your sister's husband. But how are you all spending this much time where this type of relationship could develop?
Frequently and without protection? Lord have mercy. Married for 10 years and fooling around with your wife's sister should be a punishable offense under the law, but it is what it is. And what is it about Ms. Richmond saying she thought she was in love? Oh, cut the crap, ma'am. That's just way out of line.
That's the last you discussed her paternity?
Of him seeing her, actually, of me and him talking about her, being.
I never seen her.
Yeah, I've never.
That's because she left.
Hold on, Ms.
I'm coming
Hold
to
on,
that
Miss
part.
Richmond.
I'm coming to that part.
Miss Richmond Tykia, you're asserting in court today?
Oh, that is gangster behavior right there, and crazy wouldn't do it. Sleeping with 3 men at the same time? It's all good because that may be some people's sexual preference, but without protection makes it all nasty. However, Mr. Griffin was the only one that got notice of the pregnancy, and he even hasn't had a doubt in 30 years. Okay, Mr. Griffin, keeping it real and simple is cool.
Why did you only choose to tell Mr. Griffin?
Mr. Griffin was the one I was with mostly all the time.
Right.
So that's why
you know it only
assumed
takes
was
once, though, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Her mother's saying there is doubt and you're not. How can you be so sure?
Got photos here of when I was young and she was young.
Jerome, let me see that.
So Mr. Griffin has been relying on pictures of when he was younger and when Ms. Richmond's daughter was younger to fix the puzzle of a paternity test. That's interesting. Also, Ms. Richmond didn't find any time worthy before the pregnancy to cut things off with Mr. Griffin until she got pregnant. That's also interesting. So let's hear Mr. Griffin's answer to Judge Lake's question.
So Mr. Griffin, how did you tell your wife that you got her sister pregnant?
I didn't, because I was too embarrassed to tell her I did that.
Mr. Griffin was embarrassed to tell his wife about allegedly impregnating her young sister, but he wasn't embarrassed to be having sexual relationship with the younger sister. What was he really thinking? It's so sad Miss Tykia had to go through that due to a nasty 70s old love triangle. These people had that now 32-year-old woman believing she didn't have a father her whole childhood.
I remember.
So I got a message on MySpace from Lakeisha. Just a long little thing saying, I think you're my sister, and I'm just like who is this girl?
And wait, so when you first got the message, were you overwhelmed with emotion or did you feel like it was a prank? What were you thinking?
It's all a big web of connecting dots and uncomfortable information, but thanks to Mr. Griffin and Ms. Richmond's dishonest mistake, here we are. Ms. Richmond said Mr. Griffin isn't the father but child support papers. Let's hear what Ms. Richmond's explanation will sound like.
To Wisconsin with her when she was almost 2. We took a paternity test at that time, okay? And she told me that, well, the test proves that he's not the father, so do you have another name to give me?
So you were told he was not the father?
Yes,
All right, now I want to jump over to you.
Mr. Griffin got papers saying he's the father, but Ms. Richmond for papers saying Mr. Griffin isn't the father. This is more complicated than the affair itself, and it's getting more difficult to know who wronged who or who exactly decided to confuse both parties. Anyway, it is time to get to the truth. Let's see who is the father of Tykia.
Mr. Griffin, you are not her father. 32 years of thinking you were this woman's father.
I'm just gonna have to help her find it because I got names for her, so whatever I gotta do to find a father. I'm just gonna have to continue.
Mr. Richards isn't interested in fathering Ms. Hall's 1-month-old son, but Ms. Hall wants Mr. Richards to accept his responsibility and step up to the plate and take care of his supposed son. Let us see how that goes.
Ms. Hall, you and your mother are furious with the defendant because he denies your 1-month-old son, Damani, and does nothing to support him. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Richards, you say Ms. Hall was thirsty for love and she needs to go find her child's real dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thirsty for love? If Mr. Richards knew Ms. Hall was thirsty for love, he could have just avoided being on television on this day, smirking like he's currently doing by not having intimate relations with Ms. Hall. He could have easily gotten away from the trouble of a woman thirsty for love by zipping up, but he chose not to use protection, and now here we are.
So, Ms. Hall, you say Mr. Richards does nothing to support your son?
He does nothing. He denies her son, but basically he have nothing for her to be thirsty for. She just made a mistake and messed with somebody and got a baby, and now we trying to see if my grandson let him know that he's the dad.
Ms. Hall's mother is pleading her daughter's case, and she says Mr. Richards ain't got nothing anyone would be thirsty for. All they want is to confirm he's the daddy. According to Mr. Richards, he says he hasn't done anything for the baby because he doubts Ms. Hall's son's paternity, and he isn't about to take care of another man's child.
What's the nature of this relationship? What was going on here? The baby's just 1 month old and everything fell apart already? What is going on?
A couple years back, he broke my heart. Then he hit me up and I decided to give him another chance.
You all were boyfriend and girlfriend a couple years ago, or you were just dating?
We're dating.
So Mr. Richards broke Ms. Hall's heart once and she gave him another chance. Only if she had not given him that chance, she wouldn't have to deal with this mess. Anyway, Mr. Richards agreed to trying to get Ms. Hall's attention again after the heartbreak. But why?
It wasn't just like I broke her heart in 2013. We had an issue. It was like, I guess you could say that. So this time, things last time, so I gave her another chance.
That is crazy. The thirst goes both. Mr. Richards needs to pick a side. Ms. Hall's mother really has her daughter's back, and it's beautiful to see that she's there for her daughter. Again, Mr. Richards is shooting himself in the leg with his thirst reference. Ms. Hall can't be the thirsty or manipulative one, and Mr. Richards would be the first to text. That's simple arithmetic. But it gets worse.
Basically a week.
A week?
It was like a fling. They stopped talking and then he came to spend time with her for her birthday and stayed a week.
So you went to stay with her for a week, Mr. Richards, and then after that you basically broke up with her again?
No, Your Honor. I think I was there for no longer than 4 days.
Obviously, Ms. Hall was blinded by her feelings for Mr. Richards and thought something meaningful would come out of their relationship the second time. If only she knew Mr. Richards was just there for the time being. Continuous unprotected sex was surely going to lead to something. Whether STDs or pregnancy, something was going to come out of it. What was the reason for breaking up with her Mr. Richards?
There's a guy coming out the gate. So who's the guy coming out the gate? Where is he coming from?
It's a guy that lives in the back.
It was a back house too. It's a duplex and it's a back house.
So there's a guy coming out the gate and in your mind you think he's coming from her place?
Not at that point in time, no.
Okay.
So seeing another guy in his texts were Mr. Richards' reasons for ending the relationship. While that's fair, Mr. Richards already told us that he got together with her for the time being. Mr. Richards eventually says the truth, that he was just looking for a reason not to talk to her anymore. And that sums it all up.
Okay, so had you all made some type of commitment to one another? What would give you the right to take her phone, look in it, and then be angry if somebody was texting her? It sounds like, in a little way.
For something.
Well, it sounds like you went there to play her, and then you got played, and then you didn't.
Are you just?
Ms. Hall is being very patient here, from giving Mr. Richards another chance to not wanting to tell him about the pregnancy, then eventually telling him and his kind of response. That was plain unfair to Ms. Hall.
May I say something? When I left that day, I told her that I seen the messages and I told her I seen the dude. She said that there was no other guy. She told me from her own mouth that the guy was a guy that liked her and he only brings her things and her kids' things. They don't do anything else.
This is getting confusing. Ms. Hall says there's a different guy pursuing her, and that wasn't the guy Mr. Richards saw the day he left her place. Maybe it's time to know if Mr. Richards really fathered Ms. Hall's 1-month-old son or not.
Mr. Richards, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You are the father.
Thank you.
Mr. Andrews is in paternity court with mother, and they are here to prove that. And Ms. Corbett has been nothing but a liar and fraud. On the other hand, Ms. Corbett is ready to prove to Mr. Andrews and his beloved mother that her 5-month-old son is theirs.
Mr. Andrews, you and your mother are in court today suing your ex, Ms. Corbett, for paternity fraud because you claim she forged your signature on the birth certificate of her 5-month-old son, Quinn Andrews Jr., who you believe is not your biological son. Is that correct?
Ms. Corbett thinks Mr. Andrews' mother meddling into their affairs is the sole reason why things didn't work out between her and Mr. Andrews. However, Mr. Andrews doesn't care about that at all. He's only here to talk about Ms. Corbett's forging his signature on her son's birth certificate. If that's true, then Ms. Corbett must be a real fraud. Let's see.
Mr. Andrews, why do you believe your signature was forged on Quinn Jr.'s birth certificate?
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't sign anything, and somehow my name still managed to get put on the birth certificate. I have a copy of it right here.
Let me see that birth certificate. So you say somehow your name just appeared on the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
8 kids? No one is judging anyway. So Ms. Corbett says Mr. Andrews signed the birth certificate, but he's saying he didn't because his mother told him to do so. That's kind of funny because the trust is going to be out anyways, so there's no need to lie about it.
We were in a relationship, but I could never say it was actually a committed one because every time we hit a bumpy road in our relationship or we get into an argument about anything, it could be simple. Quinn is out the door, right back to his mama.
I wouldn't even call it a relationship, Your Honor, because she slept with the whole damn city, the whole neighborhood.
Sleeping with the whole neighborhood is a wild claim, and coming from somebody with 8 kids from different fathers makes it even more ridiculous, but okay. Ms. Corbett said she could have slept with Mr. Andrews' mother if that was true. Whew.
Mr. Andrews, you haven't said much about the relationship.
She was possessive. She was verbally abusive.
He says I was possessive and verbally abusive. This is the same one that is a cut that walks to the candy lady right through our house. It's 2 minutes away. Every time I'm walking through, he has to stand to the door and watch me like I'm a 2-year-old.
So who is lying? Mr. Andrews says Ms. Corbett was verbally abusive, and Ms. Corbett is also saying Mr. Andrews didn't even allow her to have female friends, which meant he was a possessive person. This story is kind of twisted, and the twist needs to be untangled.
Why you doubt this child?
Because of her.
Carries your name.
Negative.
Is yours.
Your Honor, I doubt for the simple fact that while we was together, I happened to clean up the house one day where we stayed at. I found the empty Magnum wrapper under the sofa, which she claimed was mine, which it wasn't, because all of them we used, I throw away.
Again, we don't know who's lying. Whether it's Mr. Andrews, his mother, or even Ms. Corbett. All these stories about someone running through the back door just sounds really crazy. But hold on, because this story is about to get worse.
This your only doubt?
No, ma'am. I have more than one.
What else?
I found messages in her phone where some guy obviously was telling her, leave the back door open and be naked when I arrive.
Oh, you saw the message?
Yes, ma'am. She denied that in my face. That's one reason. The second reason, I found the Magnum wrapper.
The message said, leave the back door open.
And be naked when I arrive.
Okay, Mr. Andrews has a lot of reasons to doubt the paternity of the child, but Ms. Corbett says that's all a lie. Ms. Corbett says Mr. Andrews is just saying anything and everything, even the ones that had happened way before she conceived. And then the shouting begins.
Let's get back to Quinn now. Have you developed a relationship at all with the child?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he does not.
He does. That baby was just at our house a week ago, and my boy brought milk, toys, and diapers for him.
My baby,
I gave him the money to buy it.
You all going at it more than Miss Corbett and Mr. Andrews.
Because
the two
she
women.
is the problem.
Every week? That is crazy. Anyway, Ms. Corbett is saying Mr. Andrews is a mama's boy, and that's why they are having problems. Mr. Andrews' mother says she doesn't interfere in her son's life, but it doesn't look like that true, because she's been talking even more than her son. But then Mr. Andrews gets really silly.
I don't know what's going on here. What is that about?
Like I said, we had gotten into an argument, Your Honor. I was trying to leave.
Why didn't you just take your child with you?
Your Honor, I couldn't take him with me.
You didn't have a car seat?
No, ma'am. I was walking like 2 or 3 miles, so he couldn't come with me.
You can carry a 5-month-old baby 2 or 3 miles that's yours and got your name?
No, Your Honor.
Come on, man.
Dropping a baby off at a fire station because you and his mother are being messy is supposed to be another offense under the law, because that's cruel. It doesn't look like this man needs a child, but we need to know if he's the biological father anyway.
Mr. Andrews, you are the father.
Let it be known. Now let's talk about that child support payment.
No. I'm done with the drama and the nonsense.
All right.
Ms. Johnson and Mr. Taylor want to know about the paternity of the baby they had allegedly made together. But this case gets more interesting when you find out their mothers are also in Judge Lake's court to know the test results and suppose their own different babies.
Ms. Johnson, you and your mother say even though the father of your 2-year-old son, Jaden Taylor, is a deadbeat dad, and today you claim to have medical evidence that proves Mr. Taylor is the father of your son. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to Ms. Johnson and her mother, Mr. Taylor moved from being a deadbeat father to denying paternity of the baby. Pretty convenient, right? However, Mr. Johnson and his mother say that's not the case, as it's because they now have valid reasons regarding the paternity of Ms. Johnson's baby.
Okay, so Ms. Johnson, explain to me what happened a couple of weeks ago.
My son was over his house. He was only over there 5 days, and he texted me like, you need to get your son, and I'm not getting him until I get a blood test. Like,
out of the blue?
Out of the blue, yes. And I have here some evidence too.
What kind of evidence?
A message.
Someone just walked up to you and said your son isn't your son, and Mr. Taylor didn't even bother to question Ms. Johnson about it. He just sent her a message about not wanting the child anymore after 2 whole years? You would think this was a lie if the story wasn't being told by the parents of the child.
I believe it because she always say stuff like that. Like, she always say that he's not mine. I have actually
I've never heard her say that. I've never heard her say that.
I
One
actually
time.
has a recording saying she said he's not mine. So if you can hand this up.
Even if she was just angry, it would have made Mr. Taylor's doubts about the baby's paternity. Anything can be said in anger, as mentioned by Ms. Johnson's mother, but some words stick and they never go away. But let's see what is going to happen next.
Why do you think he'd make it up, Ms. Johnson?
Because he don't want to step up to the plate and be a dad. He does nothing. He just, you know.
That's a lie.
What you
I
do?
everything for
What proof? Where's the proof? You ain't seen him in 5 months, so what you do?
I have a lot of proof. I sent.
Okay,
where is it? Can you see it? Can you
got any
see that?
receipts?
Ms. Johnson and her mother say Mr. Taylor doesn't do anything for the baby, but Mr. Taylor and his mother says that's a lie, as they have been catering for the baby in their own way. The battle of who to believe comes up again.
We hardly talk because I don't like talking to her as you see it through the voice message. That's how she talks to me. That's how she talks to me on a regular.
All right, up until this point, Ms. Johnson, he never denied Jaden up until this point, about a week ago. You never heard that come out of his mouth?
I've never heard it. I just heard rumors that he said it.
The baby has been accepted by Mr. Taylor's family, seeing how they pulled up to the celebration, but all of a sudden, they don't believe the baby belongs in their family anymore. That's shady, but we may never know what's wrong till we get to the bottom of this.
Ask for the DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor, I have proof of that right here.
You have?
I'd
like to see that, Jerome. You asked for a DNA test. Tell me the story. How did that happen?
Actually, the court sent in a paper saying I had to go take a DNA test. I went down there to take a DNA test. After I left, I messaged Ms. Johnson and told her that she was supposed to come with me to take the DNA test for my son.
Well, Ms. Johnson is also being shady right now because if she's confident the baby belongs to Mr. Taylor, she could have just showed up at the DNA test and be over with it already. Instead, she's here doing what she had avoided earlier.
One paper that I would like to show you.
I'd like to see that, Jerome. What is this evidence showing?
This is just basically his eczema that he has.
Okay, the child has eczema?
Yes.
Okay.
And a heart murmur. And a heart murmur, yes.
And a heart murmur.
If you look at...
Just like Mr. Taylor has.
Sharing a medical condition doesn't necessarily mean the baby belongs to Mr. Taylor, but then again, it raises the stake of the baby belonging to Mr. Taylor. And then sparks start flying when one of the moms makes a crazy claim.
Were you intimate during that time with anyone else besides Mr. Taylor?
No.
Why do you? Why?
How do you know?
Was
That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you know?
He was out.
How do you know?
I was not
How do you? Your son wanted me there.
You were out.
One at a time. One at a time.
Your son wanted me there.
One at a time. When you say she was out there,
she was out there.
Respectfully, what does that mean? She was promiscuous. She was known to be
like you, huh?
Yes.
Exactly. Mr. Taylor, we want this to be over too. It's about time we know if Ms. Johnson is being honest, or the random person that just walked over to Mr. Taylor just cooked up some lies to ruin the daddy and son relationship.
Mr. Taylor, you are the father.
Like I told you.
No. If you're not gonna, don't start that nonsense.
Ms. Thompson is not about to let Mr. McKinley get away with stepping out of his marriage to have an affair with her. Ms. Thompson is here to make Mr. McKinley and his wife realize they have a baby outside, and it's time to do the needful.
Ms. Thompson, you are summoning Mr. McKinley to court to prove to him and his wife that he fathered your 6-month-old son, Legend. You say his wife is petty, and she is the cause of his paternity denial. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McKinley, you admit that Ms. Thompson was an affair gone wrong, and you say Ms. Thompson needs to leave you and your wife of 17 years alone and find her baby's father. Is that correct?
Mr. McKinley stepped out of a 12-year marriage, and he's saying it was an affair that went wrong, but everyone can't help but wonder which affair has ever gone right? Anyway, Ms. Thompson doesn't really care about if the affair went wrong or right. She just wants Mr. McKinley and his wife to be responsible for her baby.
Now, Ms. Thompson, how did you end up in a relationship with a married man?
Okay, I ended up in a relationship with Terrell, and I wouldn't consider it a relationship. I would consider it friends with benefits.
Ow! Ms. Thompson says it was more of a friends with benefits situation than a relationship to her. Ms. Thompson felt what they had was a friends and benefit arrangement. Now that's a different story. They had rap and music in common? Okay. But Ms. McKinley's wife should stop saying it's a lie. She wasn't even there.
Did you know he was married?
He told me that he was separated.
She lied. She know, Your Honor.
They weren't together. She stayed in a shed.
She lied.
And he stayed in a room in a Mescalate house.
Your Honor.
All right.
She lied. Hold on.
Shed.
Your Honor, she lied. Okay, I went on his Facebook. She's always posting new pictures and this and that in his
because
DM.
I went in her.
Hold on. I went in his private.
Ms. McKinley seems to be one of God's strongest soldiers, because why is she here defending her cheating husband? And Mr. McKinley is trying to tell her Ms. Thompson seems to be the one who came on to him. But that wasn't what we heard from Ms. Thompson earlier. But it gets worse.
I had somewhere to go, but if he went, I was with him, so I went with him. When we went to New Orleans, he introduced me to his family, his sister, his cousins. I went swimming. I'm talking about it's like I'm his girlfriend, you know? But in my mind, I'm like, okay, this man too old for me.
Ow! Ms. Thompson has got a razor for a mouth. She keeps going off on Mr. McKinley and his wife inclusive. Going to New Orleans to meet his family even though she was homeless didn't seem like an ordinary affair, but okay, we are listening. Now it gets worse.
Let me tell you something. I called him in the hospital on the second day because I looked at my child and I said, dang, man, I'm going to own up to that. I did not want him to be the father, but my child sure do got a lot of features.
Woo! Ms. Thompson really can keep going if she's given the chance, and Mr. McKinley and his wife won't be able to make a point. Either this baby belongs to Mr. McKinley or not. We can all agree he's the one at fault for stepping out of his marriage. Overlapping goes or not, only the DNA test can confirm the paternity of the baby, because the other potential father could have overlapping toes too.
About 3 months ago,
come on.
through a text telling my husband, oh, this legend dad
that's
right
legend
here.
dad there.
This evidence,
yes, ma'am,
is a picture you said you saw.
Your Honor.
Where?
She sent it
She sent it to me.
Terrell's phone.
She
It's still
sent
in
it to
his
me.
phone.
Mad.
As a matter of fact, it's still in her phone.
Yeah,
in his
mad.
phone.
So you got a text, and it was this picture, and the caption was
Saying Legend's
Legend's
real
real father.
Yes,
Goodbye.
yeah,
Goodbye.
Oh, Mr. McKinley's wife also has evidence that shows a picture of the baby on another man's lap on Ms. Thompson's page. But Ms. Thompson is refuting that claim by saying they made it up since her Facebook page is private. They made it up. That is crazy. So how often has he seen the baby?
Often have you seen Legend?
3 times.
In 6 months, 3 times.
Before I left New Orleans to return back to Dallas, I called Miss Thompson. How we gonna handle this? I say the same way you don't trust Legend around my wife don't trust me around you.
So Mr. McKinley is ready to be a committed father once the DNA test results proves he's the biological father of Ms. Thompson's child. Maybe Mr. McKinley's wife would be able to trust Ms. Thompson around her husband and vice versa after the announcement of the result.
Feel sorry for me because God has been blessing me
yes.
and my children, and I have been taking care of them. I put a roof over their head, and I don't have to explain it. You do not know me.
Lord have mercy. Ms. Thompson is on fire, and the only solution to this is to get the result. Everyone has had a share of Ms. Thompson's sharp words. It's about time this comes to an end.
Mr. McKinley, you are the father.
And he's a handsome baby. He get compliments all the time, so.
He is beautiful in the spirit of that beauty and that innocence.
A man wanting a child to be his is pretty uncommon in paternity court. But Mr. Moore is trying to change the notion in Judge Lake's court today, while Ms. Scott claims that her baby doesn't belong to Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore, you came to court today to prove you are the biological father of 4-year-old Aliana. You and your current girlfriend claim the defendant has played on your emotions for 4 years and has allowed another man to raise your little girl. You are desperate to put the defendant's doubt to rest so you can finally be in your daughter's life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Moore wants to be involved in his alleged daughter's life by all means, and that's the reason he's in court today. But Ms. Scott says the result will show that he is, in fact, not the father, and that he should leave her and her daughter alone afterwards. Weird how tables turn.
All right, so Mr. Moore, you say you've always believed Allie is your daughter. Tell me why.
Yes, Your Honor. I've never seen my child a day in my life.
You've never seen her?
A day in my life.
But you're convinced she's your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
So why hasn't he seen her? If he feels that way, why hasn't he tried to see her?
I've tried to see her, Your Honor. She blocked me all sources of contact. She even changed her number. I tried to reach out to her on social media. I couldn't even get through on that.
Mr. Moore has never seen the child, but he's so convinced that's his daughter? That man really wants to be a father. That's rare. However, Mr. Moore's reason for never seeing his supposed daughter yet is because Miss Scott won't allow him.
Never about seeing her. That's not your kid, so why you have never tried to see her ever, and I don't mind because that's not his kid.
So why do you believe she's denying you're the father? Why?
Because she had sex with another guy at the time.
Well, that's reason to doubt, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
But not deny. That's what you're saying.
Yes, Your Honor.
It still remains that you are a possibility.
Yes, Your Honor.
Escape plan, you say, Miss Scott? Oh, we are all as shocked as Mr. Moore is. Mr. Moore thought he was a boyfriend, but unfortunately, Miss Scott was just using him to pass time. But how come Mr. Moore still wants the baby to be his, even after knowing she had sexual relations with another man at the time of conception? Is Mr. Moore just trying to fulfill all righteousness or what? And then she doubles down on her claim.
I was currently in a relationship when I met him originally.
When you moved in with him?
Right.
So why would you do that?
Because he was my escape plan. He was my dummy, basically.
Well, all right. Well, I want you to be honest, but I think you might have just taken it too far.
So, Miss Scott went back to the man she was trying to escape from, and she thinks she's the right person. That's unbelievable, but things happen, and Mr. Moore here is a victim of someone who just planned to use him. It's too bad, but it gets worse.
I told my daughter's father that we were going to have a baby. I never told Mr. Moore that we were going to have a baby together. I never told him that.
Your Honor, she called me and told me she was pregnant.
She did?
Yes,
Never.
And how far along was she when she called to tell you?
She was a couple of weeks, about 3 to 4 weeks, she said.
3 to 4 weeks. And your response was?
I might be the possible father because I was having sex with her unprotected multiple times.
Miss Scott is trying so hard to protect the man she claimed she wanted to escape from by tricking Mr. Moore. That man doesn't even seem like a good person because he isn't on that baby's birth certificate, but magically he's on all the other hospital records. Okay, Ms. Scott.
Met Mr. Moore in July.
Yeah, we met.
But online.
Right.
You hadn't met in person yet.
No.
Until
August.
No,
until July. We moved in together in August. We had sex together in August.
Miss Scott must be really onto something, be so hard on Mr. Moore not being a potential father to her baby, if though it seems they had sexual relations during the window of conception. Then it gets worse.
She did that. Never did that. I never did that.
And photos of your son and Miss Scott's daughter was submitted to the court. And on the left side is Mr. Moore's other child with you, Ms. Williams.
Yes.
And on the right side is Aliana.
They don't look alike. His baby looks like him. My daughter looks like me, and she resembles her dad.
She looks like me. She got the same pointy ears just like I do.
Mr. Moore really seems like a good man. But what's with the confusion going on here? Ms. Scott is denying Mr. Moore being her baby daddy so much, and she's making collages and asking Mr. Moore's recent girlfriend if she got money for diapers and wipes. Ms. Scott needs to make up her mind on this one.
She's not your child. Why didn't you ever get it done? She's 4.
He didn't make no effort. If you feel like she yours, even though she's not, which I know, come on, let's go take a test.
That is not what
so
happened.
I can prove to you that she's
every
not.
time he prepared to do it, she always informed him that her daughter was with her family member and all of this.
So you feel like she was trying to avoid the test?
Ms. Scott is certain Mr. Moore is not her baby's father, but she kept avoiding doing a DNA test. That only proves she has something to hide, and it's about time we know what Ms. Scott is trying so hard to hide.
Mr. Moore, you are the father. You are the father, Mr. Moore. That's your little girl.
That's 4 years I've missed out, but I'll make it up to her. I promise.
Miss Scott, what are you feeling right now?
I feel bad to know that is his child. She has not known him for 4 years.
That's a lie! That's a lie!
It's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true. You a lying trick. What did you do? What did you do? He probably get rid of Satan. You saved my life. I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I know that's a damn lie. I'm sick of.
My brother was an
Excuse
me. Did I ever tell you that?
Yes, you did.
No, I did not. I remember the first day.
I remember the first day I asked. I was about 4 years old.
All I said is your father is dead. That's all I said, and I left it at that.
He went to the store to get him some milk and some Pampers, and he got killed.
Mr. Hughes is stuck between two crazy moms in court today. One is his own mother and the other is his ex. Ms. McBirth, his mother, is sick and tired of her son having so many babies. For this reason, she's denying her potential grandchild and demands for a paternity test.
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all. Can I show it? Can I?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Oh, look at her go. She really brought a picture of father and baby to court saying that they look nothing alike. Back to the ex-girlfriend, she insists that Ms. McBirth is in denial and is projecting her feelings on the baby's paternity.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he's all the white. He ain't got no black in him. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere.
That was a very racist thing to say, Ms. McBirth. Does this woman realize that genes work in the funniest ways? What a thing to say in the courtroom. Sure, she may be tired of her son having children willy-nilly, but that does not give her the right to be mean to her son's baby mama.
Okay, so a little over a year. Were you in a committed relationship?
I thought we was.
You did, okay. And was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now she knows she lying. She lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend.
Whoa, it seems like we have 3 crazy women in court today. Now, where did all of this even come from? Who is this woman, and why is she all up in Ms. Jackson's business? If she says she believes was in a committed relationship with Mr. Hughes, then let the poor woman be.
A side chick.
And it's all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Force it. Yeah, you have. Don't sit up there and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she trying to push that baby on. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her. That child is not ours.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
She wants me to acknowledge that child.
Now, Ms. Terrell and Ms. McBirth both claim that Ms. Jackson simply wants to throw the baby to their family. They believe that the baby sure as hell isn't theirs. Now, wait a minute. Isn't it suspicious that the supposed father of the baby has not said a word since we started this case? What a family of assertive women.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor, and it was a newborn, and I walked past them, and I kind of glanced over there, and I seen this little white baby. I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing else to say or do about it since then.
Whoa. Hold up. Look how this woman is ready to go head-to-head with Judge Lake. So many things are wrong with everything Ms. McBirth just said. First, his real children? She was taking her son's real children to the hospital? How many kids exactly does this man have? From how many women too? And what? Is he mute?
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stops today. Because that baby is not my son.
Here's the thing that she does.
It is.
Here's the
sorry.
That's a lie.
No,
that's
it's
a lie.
not.
That's a lie.
First of all, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last week.
There was a sex party? The police came? What about the baby? Where was the baby while all of this was going down? Also, can someone please tell Ms. McBirth that the babies she'll be picking up would definitely not stop today? Considering that her mute son already has about 1 million kids already.
Miss McBirth, I have to ask you, you're very tough on Miss Jack. Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
My son I know exactly what type of person he is. He just as trifling as she is. He's a handsome guy. He's my son. And I know what he do. But he still, no matter what he do,
Of course, we cannot expect Judge Lake to sit still and take all of that from crazy moms. She's sitting up and asking the right questions. Her son has been in the court since the start of the case, and he has not said a word. We have no idea whether he accepts the child or not. Now she's saying the sight of her son being loving to his baby makes her want to throw up.
Do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, you know.
My son's.
My father's a brown-haired, blue-eyed dude, so...
How you know? He just gonna say that because, you know, she's gonna freak him after this.
Yeah.
Accusing your brother of not having...
Oh my goodness, she married a white man? After all of that, she still has the guts to be so racist about her potential grandchild. Considering that his past is biracial, that provides more reason for the baby to look white. What an unreasonable woman Ms. McBirth is proving to be. After all of this bickering, we get to hear the results.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
No! That's a lie! 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 I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I know that's a damn lie. I'm sick.
For 14 years, Mr. Hoyer has been on a quest to find his father, only to learn that the man he believes to be his father has already passed away. However, Mrs. Porter and her mother, Mrs. Horn, insist that Mr. Hoyer has no connection to their family. These women are determined to prove it too.
Mr. Hoyer, after 14 years of being in foster care, you desperately searched for your father. Sadly, that search ended when you learned that your alleged father, Mr. James Horn, was tragically killed. Make matters worse, you claim his family rejected you, and so you're here today to prove to them that you are indeed his son.
He really spent 14 years in foster care with zero idea of who his father was. And to make matters worse, when he finally thinks he has found him, he finds out he passed away. Also, the family he believes he finally found wants absolutely nothing to do with him.
So, Mr. Hoyer, please share, what was it like growing up without a father?
Your Honor, it was like hell growing up without a father. I was taken away when I was 3 and 9. I was in foster care for 14 years, got adopted when I was 14. Never got to learn how to shave, never got to learn how to tie a tie. I don't know who my father is because my mom used to be a stripper.
Oh my goodness. So his mother was a stripper, and that's why it was so hard to find his father in the first place. Wow, what a messed up childhood he had. And to make matters worse, apparently, the new boyfriend knew who the father was. Whoa, okay.
So this is a photo of the man you were told is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you look at this picture, do you see yourself?
I do in some ways. I see myself through the smile and through the forehead and the eyebrows.
Miss Porter, all of this time, these years before your brother passed, he never mentioned having a child.
Never.
They do look somewhat alike, but in this court, looks don't mean anything. Only matching DNA. And hold up, the alleged father on his deathbed mentioned he doesn't have any kids. Could this actually be true, or was he just hiding his child?
He went over and asked my alleged uncle about the name, James Horn, and he was like, yes, that's my brother. So my adopted brother came and got me, took me over to his neighbors, and that's how I met him.
What was that encounter like? What happened? Take me step by step.
When I approached the house, I walked into the door.
Whoa, what a case. So that's how he found out this man could possibly be his father? What a mess this all is. Some family members say he could be his kid. Others say there's no chance. All this guy wants to know is who the father is, nothing else.
It was a secret. I didn't even know I was really pregnant until I was 6 months. But like I have told my son, there is another man before this man.
So what you're saying is you were open and honest with your son that you had also been intimate with another man.
Wait a minute. Is Mrs. Gentry saying that she had sexual relations with another man during the time her son was conceived? That means two things. 1, she cheated on the man she claims to have been in love with. 2, she's not certain Mr. Horn is her son's father.
When the first time we ever seen her was 2 weeks after the funeral. 2 weeks after my brother was put in the ground, this young lady came and knocked at my mother's door. I have your brother's child. I'm like, that's not my brother's child. Get it.
So Miss Porter and her family sent Ms. Gentry away with her little boy 20 years ago? That sounds a bit brutal. What if he turns out to be their blood? That's 23 years down the drain just because he didn't look like them. Oh, Ms. Porter. Life doesn't work like that anymore, okay?
Do you feel that there's any possibility that he could be your grandchild?
It could be. I wish it was. I hope so.
You said you do hope photos. Now this first set of photos is Mr. Hoyer at 8 years old and a
young picture of Mr. Horn. Do you see a resemblance?
Not really. Not in that one.
Now that Mrs. Porter admits that there's a resemblance between her late brother and Mr. Hoyer, you can tell that they really want him in their family, and maybe, just maybe, the late Mr. Horn lied to them about not having any kids.
That makes me believe that there's someone out there that will accept me. So hopefully I am James Horn's son, because I will actually have a place where I will be able to fit in. I don't like being unwanted fairy tale family.
We can see why he desperately wants the results to come out positive. It's been even more difficult for Mr. Hoyer to fit in because he is biracial. His mom did say she was from a racist family, so maybe she couldn't deal with being the mom of a biracial child.
He won't have to deal with
always be his
because
mother.
he will get what's coming to him.
Why not? I always be his mother.
You might always be the mother, but you're not a mama. A mama. How this woman did his child right here when he could have been at our household. He could have been with us.
That's right, Mrs. Porter. There's a huge difference between giving birth to a child and being that child's mother. And so far so good, Mrs. Gentry has failed terribly at the latter. Let's see what Mrs. Gentry has to say.
You hurting me. You hurting our whole entire family. He don't know nothing about no aunts and uncles,
You need to come up
no
and take it up with
grandparents.
him.
He don't know nothing.
Miss Horn, I have to ask you because as you can hear, this is a very passionate... Excuse me, ladies.
Ma'am, act appropriately.
Let's
Sorry. Please forgive me.
Mrs. Gentry isn't even the least bit apologetic. It seems like she was forced to be in court today and she's not even trying to deny it. Minute after minute, we see how terrible a mother she is. But wait, there's more. The results are in, and we are about to get the biggest shock ever.
In the case of Hoyer v. Gentry, Porter, Horn, as it pertains to the likelihood of whether Mr. James Horn is your biological father, the DNA test results have determined that Mr. Horn is not likely your biological father.
Son, you shouldn't have done this.
No, you shouldn't have done this.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Isn't that something?
Miss Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
One super difficult thing is to get through a case where the alleged father is dead. Now, we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows or what she thinks she knows.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not...
Take a look at that. It is nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone. But how about the rest of the story? How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there is only one way to find out.
That picture,
I understand.
my son and I had a very tight relationship. And Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out. And I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own, my gut tells me this is not my grandson. I do not see my son in that.
Looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She is totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why? How could she possibly be so certain?
We had, became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's father, I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. two people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Mrs. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this how, okay, and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
And I took care of him.
And my son,
I didn't leave him because of that.
Mom. And she could have told him that she was pregnant. That's his.
Now, this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandkids is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
He has a silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, you know, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, you know, there are things about him that are a lot like me. But at the same time, you cannot deny that. That's his father.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please understand that all of this does not matter here? Any baby can look like any of their parents, grandparents, be lighter or darker too. We're at paternity court to check out the baby's genes, ma'am.
On Facebook of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And you know, I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son. My son has the right to know, and Jay has...
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now, she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't contacted.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
Supposedly the alleged father, not...
It don't have to be alleged because we're going to find out today.
So,
You're
listen.
gonna see for yourself.
Yes.
I can let my scab build back up.
Because it's all about you, right? It's about my son. It don't matter about you or me. It's about my son.
It is glaring how much these two women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
And this is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
he's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother and the grandmother are...
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say. So Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. It is time to resolve this case once and for all.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow, 99.6% you are related. Ms. Reinhardt, you have never laid eyes on your grandchild. Ms. Crow, I have to ask you.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time. I was drunk. He came over.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo. Nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez one time?
Yes.
The sex was protected or not?
It wasn't.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question of who's lying between them. Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Now, is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubts is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, he's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, he showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Whoa, she did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? Mauricio, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures like she said? These pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
About being, I guess what you would call it, fast, that was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
So you had grown up that year?
Whoa. Let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was how old? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now, all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy, he keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked Ashley, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
Was that your response to that question, Ms. Salvo?
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Has he been saying that since elementary school, Ms. Salvo?
Mr. Gonzalez, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. She used to eat in my house. My mom used to get her stuff, everything.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is ever, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
And if she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
You're going to step up to the plate?
Yes, ma'am.
And do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
What a guy. Now we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez, claiming that his fiancé slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake, and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
You are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still going to be my daughter. And I told her that before she came in the show. I got on my knees and I told her that no matter what.
Mr. Cooper and his mother believe Armani, his last child with his wife, isn't his. But his wife, Ms. Cooper, is confident he's Armani's father and is uncomfortable with how much her mother-in-law met
her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Miss Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family.
This is about to be one interesting case. How do you tell a girl you cannot have kids only to come back all of a sudden and you're sure her child is yours? What a guy, really. What a guy.
How it happened was we met through a mutual friend and I didn't know anything about Mr. Kid. Starting off, my mutual friend ended up leaving and the situation that I was in, I didn't have anywhere to go. And that's how me and Mr. Kid ended up having relations because I was staying with him. But as everything progressed and everything started off.
Looks like one big love rectangle. Just how many people are involved in this story? Mr. Kidd, Ms. Rawlings, the mutual friend, the new lady. It's kind of hard to keep up. One thing we've gathered, though, is she was in a sexual relationship with Mr. Kidd and some other guy at the same time.
You were pregnant, and then somehow he assumed he was the father?
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form blood disease and that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
Oh, he had a rare blood disease.
Well. The story's coming together now. Seems Mr. Kidd didn't really understand the disease, and because he's never gotten anyone pregnant, he thought Ms. Rawlings couldn't be pregnant for him. What a naive young man. But it doesn't end there.
We've never been in a relationship.
So it wasn't just a sexual relationship?
No, ma'am. We were just, she just needed somewhere to stay. So I was just looking out for her, and it just became a sexual encounter.
It was an encounter?
No.
More than one, but...
So that's what we call a sexual relationship.
At least Mr. Kidd, his mother, and Ms. Rawlings agree on one thing. Mr. Kidd and Ms. Rawlings were in a strictly sexual relationship. There were no feelings attached, no love, nothing. They were just in that situation because they were living together.
Here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a manipulation tactic.
It was, as long as you were giving her what she wanted and needed at the time, it was okay. I've never one time been told I wasn't the grandmother. She did not ever say.
Now here we go again. Baby Nathaniel can't possibly look like everybody. At this point, it seems everyone is seeing what they want to see, and it's quite funny because it isn't all about the child's physical appearance. It honestly feels like Ms.
I actually came to the hospital after I gave birth to Nathaniel, and they instantly, you seen it in his face and in Nathaniel's face, his face lit up. And even his brother was there and was like, yeah, man, that's your son.
The other guy?
Yes. No, because I didn't have my ID.
Ms. Rawlings is one lady who is easily persuaded. This person tells her her son looks like them, and she agrees. Someone else says the same thing, and she agrees. Make up your mind, sister.
She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe. She wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together. She gave me the baby for a period of time with a
How long?
I had him for a month and a couple days.
The more she speaks, the more we see how confused Ms. Rawlings is. It's one thing to tell a man he's not the father of your son, and it's another thing to take advantage of his family's kindness and availability. It's unfair to keep manipulating them that way.
It's a boy, you know what I'm saying? I'll be around, I'll help out, but I couldn't take care of him as if he was my child.
All right, I think I've heard enough. I'm ready for the results. Jerome?
Well, Judge, we've also had enough. Who is Nathaniel's dad? Mr. Kidd or the other guy somewhere? What do you think? This is one very complicated case, but the test results will hopefully resolve it once and for all.
Mr. Kidd, you are the father. You are the father.
Thank you.
And at least even the fact that he said that he would have stood up, that was what I was still going for, period. The fact that that is his son, I am happy because